Hello and welcome back to Zenin Fanfics. Today we're starting an exciting new series. What if Deku was the son of Aizawa? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content. The story we're featuring is written by Blaze20055 on Wattpad. You can find all the relevant links in the description, so be sure to check out the author's profile and say hello. Now, let's dive into the story. It's been 3 years since Izuku got his quirk. During this time he's been getting bullied for being called a villain. Sometimes it would just be name-calling or shoving him around, but there were times where older kids would use their quirks on him. Now during these few years Izuku has noticed that his mother has become weaker and weaker in her daily activities, and he's grown worried about her even though his mother has tried to reassure him. Izuku was walking home from school and decided to take a shortcut home, and on his way he saw something. Izuku minding his business. I wonder if mom will have enough strength to make dinner today. Out of the corner of his eye he saw something. You've been a pain in my butt for so long, but now you're captured, don't try to get away. His hair was floating and you could see a red glow from his goggles. Villain, i.e. eraserhead, well isn't it nice seeing you again, sorry to disappoint but dash. The villain got hit in the stomach from the now known eraserhead. This led to the villain being incapacitated and being dragged by Eraserhead and his scarf. After he left, Izuku came out of hiding and had stars in his eyes. Izuku, that was so cool. I've never seen that hero before, but that villain called him Eraserhead. He wrote that down in his notebook. I've got to search him up later. I wonder what his quirk is to be able to capture the villain so easily. He started to walk out of the alley, but suddenly he jumped into one of his bullies and his eyes widened. Gotta go fast. Running from bullies, see common little legs, don't fail me now. Extra one. Come here villain, it's time for a hero to put you down, he smirked. Izuku dash, leave me alone, kept on running until he numbed into someone. Catches Izuku before he falls. You alright kid? Extra one. Hey old fart, you're holding a villain right there, could you hand him over to us so we can put him in his place? He had a sly smirk, hoping the old man would hand over Izuku. My name isn't old man, you brat, it's Go Gunhi. He raised an eyebrow. Also, what exactly makes this young man a villain? Yes, I did use the name of the chairman of solo leveling. Extra 2. He can erase other people's quirk by just looking at them, so it means he's a villain. Go Gunhi starts laughing. Because of this Izuku got scared that Go Gunhi was gonna hurt him. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. A quirk doesn't define who you are, and matter of a fact, aren't you the villains for wanting to hurt without an actual reason too? Extra one. Just hand him over, old man, you don't want to mess with us. He started to get mad. Go Gunhi, psy, kids like you are what annoy me most in the world. Suddenly he starts to realize pressure and BLD lust, making the bullies drop to their knees in fear. Extra 2 dash. F this, a timeout, none, I don't mind me, I get the F away from here, F this. He ran off without a second thought. Eventually every other kid ran off in fear. Izuku, phew, thanks Mr. Go, I was in serious trouble there. He let out a breath that he didn't know he had. Go Gunhi, kid, tell me something. He looks at Izuku. Izuku dash, why sir, what can I help you with? Go Gunhi, why don't you try and fight back? Izuku dash, it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I don't know how to fight, and even when I try to fight they always gang up on me. Looks down. I've tried to go to dojos to get taught, but they all turn me away because of my quirk. Go Gunhi, I see, rubs Izuku ahead. Then why don't I train you, young man? Izuku's eyes widen. You'll train me? Go Gunhi, of course, but first can you tell me what you want to be when you grow up? Izuku, without missing a beat. A hero, sir, one that is like Eraserhead. Go Gunhi, very well then young man, you too can be a hero. Izuku, water started to form in his eyes as he fell to his knees. Thank you sir, thank you, I won't disappoint you. Go Gunhi, writing down something in a piece of paper. After school and 2 hours before school I want you to come here. Hand him the piece of paper. This is where we will start you training. Izuku looking at it. Oh, be there Mr. Go. When Izuku got home from his encounter with me Go Gunhi, he was super happy, but once he entered the house and saw his mother struggling, his smile faltered a bit. Inko. Oh hi sweetie, how was your day? She gave him a weak smile. Izuku, it was one of the better days mom. He returned a sad smile. I made a new friend, so that's something. Inko, that's wonderful, dinner's almost done, so go shower. Izuku nodded and left to shower and changed into his pajamas. Before Izuku came back down, he went on the computer and searched up the name Eraserhead, and although he couldn't find much on him, he did find something in the end, and it described the type of hero work he did. Izuku, so Mr. Eraserhead is an underground hero. His eyes sparkled. So cool, he makes a determined look. I've decided I'm gonna be a underground her dash. Izuku was interrupted by Inko calling him down for dinner. When he got down, his mom served him katsudon, and while eating it, he decided to tell his mom that he's decided to be an underground hero, instead giving the nature of his quirk. Although Inko didn't want Izuku to go into such a dangerous job, once she looked into his determined eyes, she couldn't help but want to support his decision. After this, they made small talk with one another, laughing a bit, and just enjoying their time together. Time skipped to early in the morning with Izuku arrive at the destination Mr. Go gave him. Izuku dash, Mr. Go, I'm here. He yawned a bit. Go Gunhi, very well, before we start training you I have a question for you. Izuku dash, ask away, I'm ready to answer whatever you throw at me, he responded. Go Gunhi, tell me, why do you wish for trading? Izuku, well, I wish to be a hero, but not just a regular hero but an underground hero. Go Gunhi raised an eyebrow because this answer interested him, since not a lot of citizens and even heroes don't know what an underground hero is. Izuku, I'm not an idiot. This world isn't fair to kids or adults like me who have a so-called villain's quirk, weak quirk or no quirk. He looked down, but that doesn't mean I can't be a hero. I used to think that the only way you could be a hero is if you were like All Might, but after learning about Eraserhead, I want to inspire others like myself to become heroes if they have not only the dedication but the heart to commit to the line of duty. He gave Go Gunhi a determined smile. Go Gun, having a huge grin on his face, I like the way you think, kid. Also, you're more mature than you should be at your own age. He started to chuckle a bit. I truly believe you have the heart of a hero. Now then, let's start your training. Go Gun, he started to run off. At first Izuku was confused, but eventually he started to run after him until he couldn't no more. When that happened, Mr. Go stopped and let Izuku have a small break, but after the break he had Izuku do other exercises like push-ups, squats, sit-ups, and pull-ups at a local park they went to. After this, Izuku returned home and got ready for school. Once school ended, Izuku went back to Mr. Go, and this time they went to a mountain that made it hard to breathe for Izuku, and at the top Izuku learned that he had to run down the mountain with a bunch of traps set. This took Izuku 3.5 hours to complete, and once he did he passed out, so Mr. Go had to take Izuku home once he arrived to Izuku's place. Go Gun, he dash, geez, this kid doesn't give out easily, he chuckles. A bit. He reminds me a bit of you, Nana. He had a small smile, but then when he heard the door open he turned around and his eyes widened. Inko dash, hello, how can I? He dash, her eyes widened. Inko dash, Dad, what are you doing here? Go Gun, he dash, Inko, I was training Izuku here, but I didn't think he would be my grandson. Inko moved to the side, letting Mr. Go in. When Mr. Go entered he went to the couch and put Izuku down. For a small while there was an awkward silence until Inko decided to break the silence and ask, Inko, what are you doing here? Though you didn't want anything to do with your kids. Tears started to form in her eyes. Go Gun, oh, look down, you're mistaken, Inko. This caused Inko to look at him and raise her voice. Inko dash, mistaken? Where have you been this entire time? You Sudi left me and my brother in foster care and never came back. By this point tears started to go down her face. Go Gun, he dash, it's not that I didn't want it to come back and get you too. His voice started to crack from sadness. Not one day went by where I just wanted to go back to my children and take care of them, watch them grow up. Inko, then why didn't you? Tears were running down her face. Go Gun, he dash, the person that killed your mother was still out there and I didn't want them to come and kill you or your brother. After they disappeared you were already all grown up and I doubted you ever wanted to see me again, so I decided to keep my distance. Inko, you stupid old man. She tried wiping her tears away. Why wouldn't I want you to come back into my life? Izuku dash, Mom, how do you know Mr. Go? Inko dash, Izuku, since when have you been awake? Izuku dash, since I fell off the couch. He rubbed the back of his head. Well? Inko and Go Gun, he just looked at each other and laughed a bit. Izuku, so Mom, how do you know Mr. Go? Inko dash, well, Izuku manages to wipe her tears away. Mr. Go here is actually your grandpa. Izuku dash, Wait, but I thought you said Gramps was a hero? I haven't seen any old news of him. Inko dash. Of course you haven't, silly. He was an underground hero who eventually became the Hero Commission's president. Izuku dash. What? And you didn't tell me. He started to take deep breaths. So does this mean Gramps is gonna be part of our lives now, or do I have to keep calling him Mr. Go? Confused Izuku noises. After this eventful reunion, Mr. Go started to have a more active role in both of their lives. He continued to train Izuku and would also take care of Inko since her health kept deteriorating over the years. After Izuku's 13th birthday, Inko sadly passed away, leaving both Go Gunhi and Izuku devastated. Izuku in his room reading the letters that his mom left him. Inko's letter, Dear Izuku, I know it's gonna be tough when my time comes. My only regret is not being able to see you grow up into the incredible hero I know you can be. I know you're gonna hate me for not telling you what's in the context of this letter, but I do hope you can forgive me, Izuku. I love you, my sweet baby. Your father isn't on a business trip, he was an old lover from high school and we ended up having you. Sadly we broke up before I knew I was pregnant with you and didn't tell him, so please don't be mad with your father. His name is Shota Aizawa and he's in the hero industry under the name of Eraserhead. When Izuku read this, his eyes widened tears and a couple of tears had landed on the letter. He didn't know what to do with this information. On one hand, he was happy to know that his father was the same idol he idolized, but on the other hand, he didn't know how to feel about it, whether to be upset, angry, and sad. His emotions conflicted. But there was one thing he was sure of, and that was that he wanted to go see his father. So after checking in on his grandfather, he set out to try and see if he could find his father somewhere in the city. Over the days he kept up his training, but afterwards he would go out and look for Aizawa, and on the day of his 14th birthday at a park he finally found him. Izuku running to his father, dash. He suddenly slowed down when he saw another green-haired woman come up to Aizawa and give him a kiss. Even though it hurt seeing this, he still went to them. Aizawa, you ready for our date? She had a huge smile on her face. Aizawa dash. Couldn't you have let me sleep a bit more, Emmy? Emmy dash. Nope, you promised me a date. Izuku dash. Excuse me, he was a nervous wreck. This caused both to look at him. Emmy dash. Can we help you, kid? Izuku dash. You're Ms. Joke, aren't you? Emmy chuckles. And how'd you figure that out? I'm not usually recognized in civilian clothes. She smiled at him. Izuku dash. He chuckled a bit. The thing is, I'm a huge hero nerd and was wondering if I could have both of your autographs? Aizawa raised an eyebrow. You want both of ours? Kinda surprised since no kid has ever asked him for one. Izuku noted, yes, after all you are my favorite hero. After Izuku said that, it was like an arrow through the heart for Aizawa, and Ms. Joke laughed a bit from Aizawa's reaction. After they both gave Izuku their autographs, Izuku left, but not before giving Aizawa a hug and running off with a few tears in his eyes. Emmy dash. Aw, how cute. It seems Mr. Grumpy has a fan. She laughed a bit and Aizawa tried to cover up his embarrassed face with his scarf. When Izuku got home he cried a bit, but overall was happy he finally got to talk to his dad, even if it was as a fan and not a son. Izuku knocks on his grandpa's door. Gramps, you in there? Go Gunhi dash. Izuku, is something the matter? Izuku dash. Gramps, I want you to train me to use different capture gear like Eraserhead. Go Gunhi dash. Oh, and what brought this up? Izuku, well, as a future underground hero with a non-combat quirk, I'm gonna need a weapon to help me capture criminals. Something like Eraserhead scarf. Go Gunhi dash. Any idea on a specific weapon? He raised an eyebrow at Izuku. Izuku dash. Something like Eraserhead, but maybe smaller, and maybe metal strings like from that one anime Akame Kill. Go Gunhi rubs his chin. Interesting, but it could work with the training I'm having you do. Alright, we'll focus on that as your main weapon, but I still want you to learn how to use other weapons. Izuku had agreed and started his training, but when Mr. Go learned of Izuku's hobby of writing down hero analysis, he had him learn a bit of coding and hacking as well. Go Gunhi. Alright Izuku, I have a little challenge for you. Izuku dash. Alright, I'm ready for whatever you throw at me, Gramps. Go Gunhi dash. That's the spirit. Now then, I want you to start analyzing heroes and send those analysis to Principal Nizu of you. Izuku dash. Seems easy enough. Was thinking this was gonna be an easy challenge. Go Gunhi smirked. But you can't let Nizu figure out it's you. Izuku - what? But he's the smartest creature in the world. Go Gunhi - I know, but if you complete this challenge I'll give you a special reward. The next few years Izuku's training only got harder, with his grandpa setting up some fights between Izuku and some random criminals that he caught when he went out with the promise to the criminals of freedom if they comply. Mr. Go never actually interfered unless the criminals took it too far and tried to kill Izuku. Mr. Go had Izuku learn how to use the metal strings, knives, and guns, and of course different hand-to-hand combat types, so he wouldn't be too reliant on his gear. During the years, not only did Izuku test out of middle school since he was too advanced, but he started his high school curriculum. The one thing he struggled most with was trying to not be found out by Nizu. Whenever he sent him an analysis, he would at first send them from the library or different coffee shops, but eventually Izuku learned a bit of hacking in order to mask his presence in the internet. When Nizu first received the analysis, he was shocked and was worried that he received them from a villain cause of how detailed they were, but when he finished reading the email attached to them, he sighed in relief when it specified that Izuku had no malicious intent and that he wanted to play a little cat and mouse chase with Nizu. This of course excited Nizu, and so their little game, which eventually spread to involve the entire hero industry, began, and word of Izuku analysis went far to every hero under the code name Coffee Bean. Izuku's analysis helped reduce crime by 1 to 3% more than the already 14% that All Might created, and reduced the hero casualties as well. This also led to Nizu wanting to hire Izuku as a potential staff of UA, even though he had no idea who Izuku was, since Izuku would always throw Nizu off with half-truths and half-lies. This resulted in both Izuku and Go Gunhi laughing their butts off, not expecting how much Nizu would struggle with it. His response to Nizu's offer was making a bet with Nizu, which gave Nizu until T3 first day of UA to find out who Izuku was, and if he did, he'll agree to anything Nizu asks him, but if Nizu doesn't find out who he is, then Nizu owes Izuku a favor of any kind, no questions asked. Now Izuku is 16 years old and is only 10 months away from trying out for UA. Izuku - only 10 months away, huh? Looks up into the sky. I hope you can look after me, Mom. He looked back down, and before he walked away, he sees a beach filled with trash. I think I know what I'm gonna do for the remaining 10 months. And so his journey to clean up the beach started. When Mr. Go found out about this, he couldn't help but be proud of the task Izuku was doing. Before Izuku knew it, 7 months had already flied by in the blink of an eye. During his 7th month, a yellow-hairs boy approached Izuku. "Hey man, you've really cleaned up this place. It's incredible." He had a wide smile. Izuku - yeah, can't believe people use this place as a dump. I'm Izuku Midoriya. He extends his hand for a handshake. Gave him a toothy smile. Mirio - he accepted the handshake. You must have some crazy quirk to pull this off, huh? Izuku - nah, my quirk leans more to the mental aspect rather than the physical one. Miro - wow, really dude, that's awesome. Still though, I'm sure it must be stronger than mine. Izuku - bro, please, no, quirk is a weak quirk if you train it and utilize it to its fullest potential. Miro sighed. It's permeation. I know I can't do any - Izuku - bro, that's sick. Does that mean you can pass through any type of matter, or does it have to be a so acidic type? Miro, taken back from this response, you don't think it's useless? Izuku - the only useless quirk is a quirk that isn't trained. Right now I can tell you at least 3 different ways you can take down a villain if you trained your quirk. Miro stays quiet for a bit. Then could you help me train? You obviously are more trained. He bowed, hoping he will say yes. Izuku started walking away and Miro got upset at that, but then he saw Izuku stop. Izuku, what are you waiting for? Tintin, we have limited time to train you before I head off to smirks. Miro eyes widened. Right, of course, let's go. His smile only grew after this encounter. And just like that, a friendship was born. Izuku helped Miro train as much as he could with the limited time he had, since he didn't know how things would work once he tried out for UA. Izuku was now in front of UA, ready to take the exam. He had been training for this day, and yet he was nervous as hell. He had received a text from his grandpa wishing him good luck on the test. Even though Izuku was confident in his skills, he couldn't help but be nervous at being in UA high school, and the fact that he was being started at didn't help his nerves. Quirk, erasing boost. Quirk name he uses for the exam, Divin Devi Ding. Skills, martial arts, metal strings, guns, knives, analyzing. When Izuku finally calmed himself down, he made his way to the registration booth and filled out the paperwork. After he was done, he was guided to a classroom. While walking there, he was told of the rules for the exam and that he would immediately fail if he left his exam area. When he got inside the classroom, he noticed a clone of ectoplasm walking around the halls. When the test started, Izuku noted that it was your topical language math reading test with an extra portion of quirk analysis and setting up a raid plan with the limited information you got. After the test finished, they had a small break before the physical test started. Many individuals went to the bathroom or got something to eat, but once the test had started, they were all guided to an auditorium where Izuku started. T9 read the pamphlet. After a while, Present Mike came and he tried to get everyone exited, but no one did, which made him upset. Then he explained the 1, 2, 3 pointers as well as the 0 poster, who was basically there to mess with examiners. Once in front the huge giant gates, Izuku remembers something his grandpa told him in his combat training. A true hero never wait for go in battle, nor will there ever be a countdown. Izuku smiles at the thought. Suddenly he saw Present Mike coming from the control room where all the staff was. Present Mike, all right, are you ready? He yelled without activating his quirk. This time some people did respond back, which put a smile to his face. Now then, go. Everyone was confused by this statement, but when they saw Izuku in the field already fighting, some complained that he had a head start, but Mike responded that there was no countdown in the real world, which caused everyone to rush in. At first Izuku had a hard time, but thanks to the pamphlet he knew there was a SHT off button, which is what he aimed for most of the time. He did manage to destroy some robots by causing friendly fire between robot, but nothing too major since he didn't have his equipment. In the control room, Nizu, looking around the different monitors, seems this year there isn't many promising students. Most of the staff agreed complaining this year is probably the one of the worst batch of students applying. Then they heard a loud grumble which caused them to look at none other than Eraserhead, who was coming out of his sleeping bag. Nizu dash, glad you'll be joking us in scouting the students, Eraser. He had his shipless smile a while saying that. Eraser dash, looking at the screens, just give me the students that seem to have some potential. If they survive me, well, good for them, he said in a monotone voice after taking a coffee from one of his co-workers who complained that he should have gotten his own. Nizu, maybe I'd be a good idea to, instead of having 2 classes, we should have 1 hero course class, seeing as how disappointing this batch really is. Some staff wanted to respond at this but couldn't come up with nothing, so they stares quiet watching the students. Eraser, let's see who has some potential. He gave a SHT eating grin while pressing the big red button. Back in the field, Izuku was running around. He sighed after his lost encounter with another participant who kept on following him and stealing his points. Man, some people are just jerks, he said to himself. Suddenly he felt the ground shaking, so he decided to climb a building to see what was going on. Izuku, on top of the building. Holy, that's huge. What the F, isn't that overkill you? He got down from the building and was about to run off when he saw 2 participants arguing on the path the 0 pointer was taking, and without hesitating he ran to them to get them safe. Izuku dash, oi, we need to get out of her dash. Both extras dash, shut up. They tried to pick him. Izuku dash, F it, pick up both of them and gets out of there to a safer plane. Once he left, the bell went off signaling the end of the exam. After this, the 2 approaches him and starts trying to argue with him on why he got involved and that they would have been fine. They wouldn't let him speak, so Izuku decided to just ignore them and leave. Once he got home, he was nervous on how he did and wondered if he got pints docked from involving himself with the last 2 participants. His grandpa had to reassure him that he did fine and told him that UA has a secured part to the test and saving people was part of it, so he should worry about points being docked, and instead he should worry and how he was going to reveal himself to Nizu. It's been 2 weeks since the entrance exam. Izuku has been training these past weeks to get his mind off the results since he was a nervous wreck. On one of the particular day of training, Izuku encountered something odd. Izuku, finally, Gramps is definitely a heavy driver. Man, I'm so tired. Out of nowhere a cat jumped on Izuku, making him fall down. What the F? When he looked over at what made him fall down, he saw a cat walking away with a smug look on his face. When he turned to look at Izuku, why you? Get back here, you stupid cat. The cat out of nowhere got up on 2 paws and had a boxing position and said, square up, beach. It tackled Izuku and they started to have an all-out MMA fight. Suddenly Mr. Go came back. Mr. Go, "Hey Izuku, your letter is he dash." He saw Izuku being duplexes by a cat and his first thought was, "W, I'm not even going to ask and gonna wait for them to finish." After the fight came to an end, Mr. Go gave the letter to Izuku, and when he saw the letter he immediately snatched it and ran to his room. "Izuku dash, please be accepted please." He opened the letter and a disc fell out, caused the hologram to start. But something else caused Izuku's eyes to widen. "Hello, I am Shota Aizawa, the hero course teacher. I'd like to inform you that you placed 4th place in the exam with 89 points in the exam. Congratulations Izuku Midoriya." He said this with a monotone voice. "Now you must be wondering where the extra points you received came from. Well, they came from saving people, since heroics are more than just fighting the villains but also saving people, and this was a hidden aspect of the physical exam. Once again congratulations and welcome to your Hero Academia." The recoded message shut off, and once Izuku fully processed the information he got from the message he screamed out, "I did it, I got in." Completely forgetting that his father was gonna be his heroics teacher. Izuku was now in front of UA, and although he was here before he couldn't help but be amazed at its tremendous size. Making his way down the halls, after a while he found Class 1A. When he entered he looked around and saw small groups laughing and fooling around, so he decided to go sit down by the door and start writing down stuff on his journal. While writing he noticed a yellow bag crawling into the class, which confused him. "Aizawa dash, everyone shut up." He activated his quirk, causing everyone to become quiet. "I'm your homeroom and heroics teacher Shota Aizawa. Now that we're done with introductions, get a uniform from the box by the entrance and meet me at Field Gamma." Izuku and 2 other students got up, grabbed their uniforms, and left while the remaining class just stood there frozen and confused. "Hurry up or you'll be expelled." He activated his quirk once again, causing everyone to rush out. When Aizawa got out on the field, he saw Izuku sitting by a tree and the other 2 students that left with Izuku there waiting. After a while, everyone arrived at the spot. "Aizawa dash, you're late, that won't do in heroics." He was annoyed at having to say this. "Now then, we'll be showing a series of tests to see where you're all at, so shall we begin?" He had a hitch-eating smirk saying this, causing a chill to go down most of the students' back. The tests were your standardized test, so they weren't too difficult for everyone to do. But once they got to the ball throw test and Aizawa explained that they'll be using their quirks, one girl commented that it will be fun. This caused Aizawa to get even more annoyed and put up the proposal that whoever gets last will be expelled. Some students said that it was unfair, but Aizawa quickly shut those students up, saying how natural disasters aren't fair, villains hurting others wasn't fair, and discrimination was fair either. After that, students started their test for the ball throw. When Izuku's turn came, he scored 350 meters, and so after the remaining students went as well. When the results came back, Izuku noticed that he was around the middle in spot 10, which made him sigh in relief. The person in last was a girl that had joined the group of girls that was fooling around. They were the ones that also called this test fun and called it unfair to get expelled. Aizawa looked at her and told her, "I told you, the person in the last place is expelled. Also, spot 17, don't think I didn't notice you trying to peek at the girls' cloths, and as of this moment you too are expelled." He said this in a monotone voice. Everyone was shocked that he had meant it. The girl and the perverted boy walked away with tears in their eyes. 8 of the other students in the class were laughing at the 2 of them. This didn't sit well with Aizawa, and he called out the students that laughed. "As of this moment, those that I called out go to the counselor, cause you lot are gonna be transferring the Gen Ed." They were dumbfounded and tried to argue back, but Aizawa just activated his quirk and warned them they should feel lucky they weren't expelled. Now the class that originally started with 20 students dropped to 18 and then 10. When those students left, Aizawa turned to the remaining shocked students and told them to get changed and go home since they were down for the day, but he asked for Izuku to stay behind cause he wanted to ask him something. Izuku, a bit nervous now that it's just him and Aizawa. "Is something wrong, sensei?" Aizawa dash, "As of now, you're on thin ice. Unless you can explain why you didn't use your quirk." Izuku dash, well, you see, my quirk lets me make other people's quirk weaker or stronger if I look at them." Now this wasn't a complete lie, since he could theoretically do this, but he wasn't emotionally ready to let Aizawa know the truth. "Aizawa?" His eyes widened a bit. I see that makes sense. You have a similar quirk to me. How the world truly is a small place. Izuku are you gonna expel me? This caused Aizawa to feel like he was hit hard from that question. Aizawa no problem child, I'm not gonna expel you. He gave a soft smile. Izuku sighed. Phew, I got nervous for section. Hey, if you don't mind, could you meet me at Principal Nisa's office? I think you'd want to join this meeting since I got some information you'll probably want to learn about. Aizawa raised an eyebrow in condition. Sure kid, I'll see you there. A little while later, when both met up at the principal's office, they were about to knock, but suddenly the door opened by itself, causing Aizawa to be stunned and Izuku to be amazed. Nisa welcome you two. What do I owe the pleasure of seeing you two today? He sipped his tea, giving off an all-powerful aura. Izuku sat down in one of the chairs, managing to clam his breath down. This caught Nisa's attention since not many could do this, and those that could had to be well trained. Statement. Oh, it's not a huge matter outside of me winning our bet that we had going on, Nizu. After all, you never discovered I was the analysis coffee bean. He gave a sly smirk. Nizu spit out a bit of his tea and Aizawa was shocked. He turned his head so fast you would think he had a super speed quirk. Nizu shocked and trying to calm himself down from almost choking on his tea. Both Nizu and Aizawa were still processing what had just been unveiled. Aizawa gave out a hard groan and Nizu started to laugh menacingly while sipping his tea. Nizu, he realized that he finally had Coffee Bean in his office after such a long time of wanting to find him, so he gave a sadistic smirk. Well, this is a big surprise for sure. He might not be able to offer him a job like he wanted as a staff or teacher, but he was making plans to take Izuku under his wing. Aizawa, great, you just became a bigger problem child. He gave out a sigh. I'm not paid enough for this. Izuku on a side note, Nizu, I know you want to take me as a personal student, so I'd like to let you know I've finished all of my first-year requirements to make it easier for us. He felt a shiver go up his seeing Nizu smile. Also, I'd like to tell you that I'd like to go the underground hero route instead of the light route that everyone else takes. Nizu, yes, that's acceptable seeing as how you're already going to spend a lot of time with Aizawa. Although I'd like to start our sessions soon. He sipped his tea while looking at Aizawa to see his reaction. Izuku, yeah, that's fine for me. So I guess I'll be taking my leave for today and I'll be seeing you two tomorrow. He bowed and left the room, leaving both Nizu, who was contemplating something, and Aizawa, who groaned more. The next day, when Izuku got to class, he noticed that the other two that followed his lead yesterday were there, so he decided to introduce himself. Izuku walked up to the two people. Hey you two, I'm Izuku Midoriya. He exposed his quirk but made sure to say that he could divide a quirk's power instead of erase it. The first person to speak up was a boy with yellowish hair with black strips in it and was slightly taller than Izuku. Hello, I am Max, he stated while also explaining his quirk called Siren, which allowed him to amplify his voice like present mic or to also affect people's feelings. The next person was a girl with dark blue hair and she was the shortest of the three. Hey, I'm Lily, she gave Izuku a smile, causing Izuku to blush a bit. She also explained her quirk, which was called Mist, which allowed her to generate mist around her as well as have some healing properties or other affects like Midnight's Somnambulist. After she said this, they heard other students whispering about their quirks and making rude comments about how each of them could be a villain. Lily's smile faded, which made Izuku upset, and called them out on how they were acting like fake heroes instead. Aizawa shortly after Izuku's comment got up and told the students who were whispering that quirkism won't fly at UA and that will be their one warning. The day passed by and Izuku, Lily, and Max became good friends. It was now the last class of the day, which happened to be heroics, and Aizawa told them to change into their hero costume and meet him at Ground Alpha. Lily your costume looks so cool, Izuku, she smiled at him. Izuku thanks you, and Max's look great as well. Izuku's hero outfit, Max's outfit was like present mic with only minor changes, and Lily's outfit is like Sakura's outfit from Naruto Shippuden. Soon after, everyone came and Aizawa complained that they took up too much time. He decided to move on with the class and explained that they will be doing a combat test to get them the feeling of actually fighting in their hero outfits. Izuku, Lily, and Max were chose to be a team and to head off to the field alongside the other chosen team, who is Super, to go to the opposite side. Izuku huddled up with the two. So how confident are you two in a fight? Max, I'm not the best at close combat but I can pull through in a quirk-less fight, he sighed. Lily dash, I would like to think I'm pretty good at it seeing as how I did take martial arts classes, she confidently and proudly said. Izuku dash, alright bet then I have a plan that should work and cover our blind spots. Both dash, okay shoot. Izuku dash, I'll head off to their rear area using the shadows to throw them off guard. Max will install a tiered feeling into them and Lily will create mist to act like a smoke screen for us. Both noted at the plan and got into positions. Once the bell rang to start they initiated their plan with Lily creating the most around them first which threw the other team into a panic. Shortly after Izuku used his metal wires to take the one furdest back out while the two at front started to feel tiered. Lily sprang into action getting into a hand-to-hand fight with Max backing her up when she needed. And just like that they managed to defeat their opponent team in record time. When everyone got back to the observation room Aizawa started to point out what went right and what went wrong. Overall Izuku's team didn't mess up much, there were a few things here and there but they would be fixed over time. The losing team got hammered on what went wrong mostly because they didn't plan and just went in with brute force thinking they were gonna win cause of their powerful quirks. Soon after the remaining teams went and none of them did good overall and just like that the day had come to an end and everyone was going home. Lily dash, hey Izuku, you wanna walk to the station with us? Izuku dash, sorry Mr. Aizawa and Principal Nizu wanted to talk to me about something. Max dash, no worries man, we can wait for you if you want. Izuku, he was thinking of how loud Max was but couldn't help but smile at his optimism. If it's not too much trouble then sure it should take too long. They both agreed to wait for him at the entrance. When Izuku went to the principal's office Aizawa met him there. Overall Nizu just wanted to ask for more analysis of cases that had been sent and since they could talk in person he would rather that than through email. They also decided on a schedule for the underground hero sessions and sessions with Nizu. Once they were done with their talk Izuku excused himself and met up with the two at the entrance. It's been a week since the class's battle training. Izuku, Lily and Max have become great friends even during this time but neither of them have tried getting closer to their classmates since they're all stuck-up jerks. Aizawa, walking into class. Alright everyone, he said in a deadpan tone, get into your hero suits, you'll be doing rescue training at the USJ. The class got up and changed into their hero outfits. In the bus heading to the USJ. Izuku looking around and seeing the class whispering with malicious grins. He decided to text the group chat with his friends. Everyone be careful, it seems our class is plotting something. Lily dash, okay then, sad face. She started to think, should we let Mr. Aizawa know about it? Max dash, hold that thought, if we let Mr. Aizawa know they'll know we're on to them, this way we can probably get them kicked out and not have to deal with them. Lily dash, but what if that backfires and we get hurt? Izuku dash, I have a one-time use grapple that should be able to carry us out of the area unless Lily thinks she's gained weight. Lily slash, why? Max dash, now don't start your little squabble here, he chuckled. Izuku dash, for now I say to leave it but Max make sure you have your camera on the whole time we're there. Max dash. They decided to stop texting and do their own thing to prepare for what's gonna happen but the whispering of the other classmates just put their cards up even more. Once they arrived at the USJ after a few more minutes, they met up with the Space Hero 13 and after her long talk about the dangers of quirks, Izuku, Lily and Max started to ask questions unlike the others which made the teachers note this. Izuku dash, sensei, are we gonna use all the training zones or only a specific amount? 13 dash, today we're only gonna use 3 or 4 zones, it depends how much time we have. Izuku nodded and looked at Lily and Max who nodded back. They started their training with Aizawa and 13 explaining how since it's their first time doing this they're gonna be operating in the zones in the lowest difficulty. Of course the remaining students minus the 3 friends were upset at this thinking it will be boring but they couldn't do nothing about it. When they reached the city zone they were told they needed to evacuate test dummies from a building that was going to collapse. Izuku, I should have drank my morning coffee, sad Izuku noises. Lily dash, that's what you get for oversleeping, she smirked. Izuku jokingly punches her shoulder, you don't have to rub it in. Max dash, it seems I'm third wheeling, sad Max noises. Out of the corner of his eye he sees one of his classmates smirk. His eyes widen, Suddenly they feel the building shake. Izuku dash, What the hell was that? Max dash, it seems our classmates have decided to interact their plan. Lily dash, seriously now of all times. Izuku dash, looking around, well we have two options. One, wait here for the teachers to come if they even come. Max dash, doubt it, they must have hacked the system and brought up the difficulty without the teachers realizing. Lily dash, so what's option 2? Izuku, this. He uses his metal wires to grab a hold of Lily and Max. He then jumped out of the window and used his grapple to hook onto the other building and start to swing down, causing both Lily and Max to scream. Izuku landed. That could have been a lot worse. Let out a sigh of relief. Lily walked up to Izuku and started shaking him. What the hell, a little warning next time. Max, in the background, puking please. He started to turn green. Izuku dash, he rubbed the back of his head. Lily pouted and Max was trying his best not to puke everything out. Then they saw the teachers. Aizawa dash, what the hell happened, and can someone tell me why you three decided to jump from the building? Izuku started to explain everything to Aizawa and 13 both couldn't believe it, but when Max finished almost puking his guts out, handed the body camera to Aizawa, exiling that he had it on since the bus ride when Izuku told him to keep it on. They also told Aizawa that since one of the students' quirks let him hack into electronics, they could have done it while they weren't looking. When Aizawa heard this, he decided to call the other staff of UA and a friend of his in the police station, and once they came they brought the remaining 7 students to the area and told them what was going to happen. Naturally, the 7 students denied everything that was said. Izuku, Max, and Lily were a bit worried since it was 7-3 and didn't know how much the actual camera caught. Well then, now that everything is cleared up, the 7 had a grin and the 3 friends had a worried look. You 7 are under arrest for attempted murder. The person smiled. The 7 started to complain that they had no evidence on them. Dash, it seems I have forgotten to introduce myself. I am Detective Naomasa and my quirk is lie detector. This caused the 7 students' eyes to widen, and everything you 7 just said has been filled with lies. The 7 got out in HNDCFFS by the staff. Meanwhile, with the remaking 3, Izuku sighed, I got worried there for a second. Lily dash, yeah, you and me both, gave out a sigh in relief. Max dash, it wasn't that bad, it could have been worse. Izuku dash, please don't jinx us like that. Nizu dash, it seems you 3 are doing well after what just occurred. He gave them a smile. Lily freaked out. Principal Nizu, yeah, we're doing a lot better than we could have been, right guys? Both dash, yep. Nizu, that's good to hear, but on the behalf of UA I would like to apologize since you 3 lives were at risk, he sighed. Izuku dash, no hard feelings, there was no way for you guys to have known. Aizawa dash, still problem child, you 3 could have died since I checked the setting that the zone was at and it was set at the difficulty that our 3rd years use for exams. How you got out of there amazes me. Both Lily and Max look at Izuku, remembering how he didn't hesitate to jump, and Izuku just whistled. Nizu chuckled, overall what matters is that you're safe. Putting that aside, I'd like to tell you 3 that you 3 are excused for 3 days and the remainder of today, seeing what just occurred. The 3, hi, see you in 3 days Mr. Aizawa, they waved at him. When the 3 got outside, Izuku dash, so completely forgetting what just happened, you guys wanna go get food? Max dash, and might as well, he shrugged his shoulders. Lily dash, sure, but we getting McDonald's, I want a 10-piece, she said, exited. Naomasa dash, Midoriya, could I speak with you? Izuku earned, huh, detective? Sure. He turned back to his friends, I'll be right back. He left with the detective. Izuku, so is there anything you want to talk to me about? Naomasa dash, yes, in fact I'd like to ask you who's your father since you look similar to someone I know? Izuku dash. He started to think, what do I tell him? My father works overseas, haven't met the guy. Naomasa sighed, kid, my quirk doesn't turn off, I know that's a lie. Izuku sighed, fine, can I trust you to not go telling? Naomasa dash, you have my word. Plus how shocking can it be? Izuku dash, Shota Aizawa is my father, my quirk isn't divide, it's a mutation of his quirk which lets me erases and boosts quirks. Naomasa, his eyes widen, what? The 3 friends are now finally back from their unexpected break. Izuku was sitting in the empty classroom with his friends, thinking about his last encounter with the detective. Flashback. Naomasa dash, what, how, when? He screamed. Izuku dash, shocking isn't it, he sighed. Naomasa dash, does he know? Cause if he doesn't I'm gonna go in there and absolutely wreck him. He's married and has a wife and now I find out he has a child from another woman. He started to get angry thinking that he knew Aizawa. Izuku stared, waving his hand for him to no go. Wait please. Truth is he doesn't know nor did he ever knew about me and my mother. Naomasa dash, what do you mean kid? Izuku dash, from what my mom told me in her letters they were high school sweethearts or something like that I don't know. But they ended things only for my mother to find out she was pregnant with me a couple months later. Naomasa dash, so he didn't leave your mother when he found out about you? Izuku shook his head signaling a no, making Naomasa sigh in relief. Izuku dash, please don't tell him, it's already hard enough for me to go to school and see him every day but only for him to think of me as a student. He looked down in sadness. Naomasa sighed, kid why don't you want to tell him? This is a huge matter. Izuku dash, I don't want to ruin anything for him, or for him to hate me or be upset with me. He sat down and leaned against a wall. I've seen this play out in multiple scenarios from talking with people to movies and TV shows. Naomasa dash, kid you can't seriously think the worst. Izuku dash, says the guy that has to think of the worst possible outcome for all the cases he does. Naomasa dash, that's not true dash. His quirk went off telling him it's the truth, making him give a deadpan look. He sighed, fine I won't tell him but you'll have to tell him eventually, he deserves to know. Izuku dash, I won't promise anything even if it's from a distance. I'm glad to have my dad in my life even if he didn't know he's my dad, the detective sighed in defeat. They talked a bit more on how Izuku discovered his relationship to Aizawa and the meeting he had when he was younger. At the end the detective gave Izuku his number in case he ever needed help again and to check up on Izuku since he claimed that in theory he's his uncle. This caused Izuku to give the same deadpan look Aizawa gives the detective. Flashbackins. Max dash, so any ideas on how things are gonna go on from now on? He chuckled at the thought of him being one of 3 left. Lily dash, no ideas, she stated at Izuku in curiosity. Izuku, maybe they'll put us in class 1B. Also why are you staring at me Lil? Confused and embarrassed. Lily dash, well it's just that over our little break I started to think about how pretty your eyes get when you use your quirk. She said in excitement. Max dash, that's until he overuses his quirk in which he gets dry eye. He chuckled. Now that I think of it you and Mr. Aizawa have similar quirks. Wait, are you Mr. Aizawa's secret love child? Izuku deadpanted and though, too loud, also how the F did he figure it out? Better play it smart. You're a dumbass aren't ya? Lily dash, she tried to hold in her laughter until the door opened and everyone turned. Aizawa dash, alright you problematic group. Principal Nizu is calling us to his office to discuss how we're gonna run the show from now on. They all got up and followed Aizawa to Nizu's office. When they got there before Aizawa could knock on the door it suddenly opened, freaking out Lily and Max, causing Aizawa to deadpan rat his boss's scheme, and Izuku exited wanting to learn how to do that. Once they entered, Nizu dash, welcome you 3. I'm sure you're wondering about how school is gonna work for you from now on aren't ya? He sipped his tea that wasn't there when they entered. The 3 shook their heads in agreement with Lily and Max, kinda scared of their principal. Aizawa dash, to be honest it's the first time something like this has happened. We've never had a class this small up till now. The smallest class we've had was made up of the 10 students you originally made up after the first day. He dropped some eye drops in his eyes. Nizu nodded. That's why I'm going to have you 3 take these tests to see what we're working with, so if you could kindly sit and take the test. He took a bite of cheese that somehow appeared during their conversation out of nowhere. The 3 took the test. During this time Aizawa took a nap and Nizu finished some work, all in the span of 2 hours they finished. Once they were done they handed the test to Nizu who graded them right there and then. Nizu dash, alright congratulations Lily and Max on finishing your first year's final exam, although Max barely passed by 1 point and Lily passed with flying colors. Also congratulations Izuku for passing the second year's final exam with flying colors. He smirked devilishly. The 3 shocked that they were fooled into taking their final exams. What? Lily dash, wait. Minute Principal, did you just say the Izuku passed the second-year exam? Max dash, AWWWWY. He accidentally used his quirk. Izuku slash Aizawa dash. Shut up, you're too loud. Both deadpanted. This case is Nizu to chuckle. Nizu dash. Yes, you would be correct. He grinned. Young Izuku here had already completed his first year of high school online beforehand. Lily dash. Yes, that why you slept during class? Yelled at Izuku. You could have helped us, you know. Izuku, he gave her a grin just like Aizawa. It's a hero's job to overcome the unfairness. Max dash. What does that have to do with anything? Izuku dash. Everything. After this statement, this caused Aizawa to have a sadistic grin of approval. Nizu dash. Now here's my question for you two. He addressed Max and Lily. I already know that Izuku here wants to go the underground hero route. Is it safe to assume you three also want to take the same route given the nature of your quirks? Lily dash. Yes. My quirk would work incredible at night. Rue Lily noises. Max dash. Yes. Question though, what's an underground hero? Genuinely confused. Lily and Izuku. Aizawa sighed. I'm not paid enough for this. Izuku dash. Idiot. An underground hero is like a limelight hero but works underground and at night, catching smart villain, not like villains during the day who mostly go off of impulses and emotions. They also work in the shadows more and tend to stay off the radar. He sighed, wondering how Max became his best friend. Max dash. I see, then yes, my answer is a yeah, my quirk would work better for those type of situations, plus I'll be able to work alongside my friends who I know I can rely on. He smiled brightly. Nizu smiled. Alright, it's been decided, then I'll set up a new schedule for you three. It will mostly be self-pass, seeing how your grade levels ahead. Well, mostly. He looked at Max. Anyways, as of now, I want you three to start your training for the sports festival in 2 weeks. Once that is done, you'll be handed your new schedule. They were dismissed for the day, even though it's still the middle of the day. Aizawa stayed behind to discuss how everything is gonna be set up for them. Izuku dash. So you guys wanna go try out the rock climbing thing they opened up nearby? Lily dash. Sure, it will help out as training. She grabbed Izuku's hand and started to walk off. Max dash. Yeah, sure, don't even ask for my opinion. Sad Max noises. Lily, from a distance, dragging Izuku. Max, you coming? Max dash. Yeah, wait up. He runs after them. It's been 2 weeks now. The three friends have been training separately most of the time but would occasionally train together, but wouldn't use any new tricks they learned and instead saved them for the sports festival. One day while they were training together, Izuku had an idea. Izuku stopped doing push-up. Hey you two, since all three of us want to go the underground hero route, wouldn't it be better to use the sports festival as a type of undercover training? Both eyes widen. You're right. Lily dash. I feel so stupid for not thinking about it. Put her hand on her forehead, feeling stupid. Max dash. We need to go to school and inform Principal Nizu about this. Izuku, already leaving. What are you two standing around for? Let's go. He waved at them. Lily dash. He really left. Is suddenly hit behind the head. Oi, what the F? Cat, laughing menacingly. Square up, thought. Got into a boxing position. Lily dash. Come at me, beach. She jumps on top the cat. A little while later at the principal's office. All three standing there kinda beat up since Izuku and Max went back to help Luna in her fight cause she was getting her butt beat. Nizu grind. So should I ask how all three of you got this hurt, or should I speculate? Izuku dash. Please don't ask. Has cat scratches all over his face. Nizu. Very well then. So what brings you? A couple days before the sports festival. He sipped his tea. Lily dash. We've all decided that we want to use the sports festival as a sort of undercover training for us. Nizu grins. Wonderful, I was gonna suggest this to you a couple days beforehand, but I'm glad to know you thought about it. Max dash. The thing is, Midoriya was the one to actually think it. He runs the back of his head. Nizu dash. Understandable, T? He offers then T. From there they called in Aizawa, who was sleeping in the hallway, and set a game plan on how they want to take on the sports festival. So for your disguises, I say we use face mask hero level makeup and dye your hair. How does that sound? Izuku dash. I'm fine with that. What do you guys think? Both they nodded, sounds good to us. The remaining days they had left for the sports festival came to an end much quicker than they though. All three were feeling extremely nervous, but now they were in the entering ceremony for the festival under disguises of different courses. Max in the Gen Ed course under the name John, Lily in the business course under the name Carla, and Izuku in the support course under the name Zuko. This year's proctor for the festival was Hound Dog. Hound Dog, welcome everyone to this year's sports festival. He screamed. As you may have noticed, this year there is no Class 1A that isn't a mistake. As UA we see fit only to accept those who are worthy of being here, and sadly this year there wasn't anyone worthy of it. Seeing this, Principal Nizu has decided that he wanted to start a new tradition to help classes become more active, so he's decided that from now on the hero course representative won't be the sole person to give the speech, but instead it will be someone chosen at random from a different course. This caused an uproar from both the group and students, cause they truly felt like the other classes aren't just gonna be side classes but instead be seen as equals to the hero course. Now then, let's begin the sports festival by calling up the representative of Gen Ed, he screamed. After the speech, Hound Dog announced the first. Hound Dog Dash. The first challenge is called Pillars. It is a survival game in which contestants will have to climb a maze full of pillars while midnight's quirk rises. He heard loud cheering from the crowd. Cementos and Midnight both entered the arena and created the battlefield. Cementos made different paths that students noticed how some were harder than others, some led to dead ends and some led to tunnels. Midnight licks her lips. Let's get this show on the road, she said excitedly. Cementos, how did you get this job, Aegean? Midnight dash Nizu. She happily giggled and Cementos sighed. Only 42 students would pass to the next round. When the round was called to a start, every student except 3 rushed in. The crowd was confused but paid no attention to these 3. Lily dash. So what's the plan, Izuku? Max dash. Not to rush, but we're kinda being left behind. Izuku dash. I think I found the path that lead all the way to the top. So let me ask you to this, how confident are you in your agility and parkour? Lily dash. I would think I'm pretty decent. Why? Confused Lily noises. Max dash. Parkour, I would hope I'm good, but my agility needs to be worked on. Izuku dash. Sucks to SK, then grins and runs of to a pillar that was broken, but from there jumped to another one and started climbing from there. Both dash. Hey cheater, don't leave us behind. They ran after him, struggling to keep up, but were able to follow Izuku's lead. As time went on, more and more participants fell out like flies. Some students made fun of the 3 friends for taking the route that looked to be the hardest, but soon enough they were eating their words when the 3 passed them and were filling up the top 3 places. While climbing, Aizawa saw the 3 and couldn't help but remember his time with Photo and Mike when they were students at UA. He even saw himself in Izuku boat in Lily and Mike and Max, which made him give a genuine smile for once. When the timer hit, Midnight stoked her quirk and let the 42 remaining students come back down while announcing their spots in the leaderboard, with Max coming in 3rd, Lily in 2nd, and Izuku in 1st. After a short break, it was now for the second challenge of this year's sport festival. Hound Dog had announced that it was going to be a capture the flag event, which promptly made most students that passed the first event rush to Izuku, Max, and Lily to get them into a team. Sadly for these students, they were denied cause the 3 friends had decided to all team up. Hound Dog dash. All right everyone, now that everyone has their teams, let me explain how the even is going to go today, he yelled, which earned him cheering from the crowd. You all will have 25 minutes to capture as many flags as you possibly can without getting your own flag stolen. Quirks will be allowed. All we ask is for you to not go overboard when using them. Other than that, have fun. Just like that, the students were let loose and many different teams rushed at the Izuku's team. Izuku dash. You guys ready? Max dash. You know it, so what's the plan? He smirked. Lily dash. I say we split up to cover more ground and get more flags. Izuku nodded and used his quirk, which made his eyes give off a faint purple glow, which temporarily erased another student's quirk who he kicked away. Agreed, but don't go too far away from me. I have a trump card for us. Just make sure you're in my field of vision. Both nodded. Hi, let's show them what we got. They ran off not too far. Izuku, grin. Seems like your hyperness is starting to rub off on me. He activated his quirk once again. When Lily was fighting someone, she felt a boost in her quirk. Lily dash. Her mist had become more powerful. Some of her mist became weapons which aided her in combat. Izuku, she looked back at him and he returned a smirk. Max copying present mic. He gave a full sonic wave at the same power present mic used, which completely shocked the UA staff. They even continued for some time with the three friends continuing to stack up points against the other students. Izuku would surprise Aizawa and Nizu by revealing how he was able to use both aspects of his quirk at the same time, although for the erasing aspect Aizawa thought it was him weakening his opponent's quirk enough for it to disable itself, while Nizu immediately connected the dots and his eyes widened as he saw the similarities between his student and his staff member. Overall, the event came to a quick end. Shortly after, they announced that they will be starting the Versus event of the sport festival. Right before its start, Izuku's grandpa had called him to wish him good luck, and that he was rooting for him, which motivated Izuku. It was now time for the battles to begin. Izuku was paired up against a girl from Gen Ed who had a finger blaster quirk. When their match began, Izuku made sure to immediately use his quirk to weaken hers by a lot, to the point the bullets felt like lasers from laser tag, which promptly caused the girl to curse and Izuku to make the match into a hand-to-hand combat, which he absolutely wrecked her. Time skipped to the final matchup, right by Chibi Izuku standing on top of defeated students' bodies. The other matchups with Lily and Max weren't much different from Izuku's on how they used their quirks to turn the tides of battle into their favor. It was now the final matchup, a 1 versus 1 free-for-all. The audience questioned why it was going to be a 1 versus 1. Nizu over loudspeaker from the commentating booth. I've decided, since the three final contains rants are all from three different classes, that it should only be fair for Gen Ed and Business course to be able to team up against someone in the support course, the closest thing we have to the hero course. Especially when all three of them are friends. He smirked and looked at Izuku. Izuku looked at the commentating booth and thought, "You damn rodent, he must have figured out my connection to Aizawa and is trying to punish me." Both Lily and Max looked at each other and nodded. Once the match began, they both rushed Izuku, trying to throw him off his game. Izuku dash, "Oh, you're both so lucky I don't have my support gear." Smirk. Lily dash, "How, what does that have to do with anything?" She threw a punish, but Izuku redirected it at Max. Max dash shoof, gets pushed back from the punch. Really, Lily, holding his gut, while Lily just shrugged. Lily dash, "I thought you were gonna sweat his legs to make him fall." Izuku dash, "They just forgot about me." Sad Izuku noises, "Then I'll make them remember." He sweated Lily's legs, causing her to fall, but got kicked by Max when he recovered. Max, "Now who's distracted?" He smirked. He was about to try and use his quirk when it suddenly didn't work. What the F? Izuku dash, "Wait." He drop kicks Max out of bounds. Lily dash, She was doing her best not to laugh. "Did you seriously yell yeet in front of an entire audience and cameras?" She couldn't hold in her laugh anymore and fell to the floor. Smirk, "Villains never play fair, so why should we?" Picks up and laughing Lily bridal style, causing her to go from laughing to beet red. Lily dash, "Izuku, what are you doing?" Beet red, but suddenly falls. "Ow." She looked up and Izuku just flashed her a smile. Hound dog dash, "And the winner of this year's sport festiva is Izuku in one of the weirdest wins I have ever seen." Lily. She looked down and saw she was out of bounds. Izuku, laughing a bit, "Sorry, purposely screamed yeet 'cause I knew you wouldn't help but laugh." And that's how the sports festival came to an end. The three were awarded their medals, Max receiving bronze, Lily receiving silver, and Izuku receiving gold. At the end of the day, Aizawa, in a tiered voice, "Congratulations," he yawned. "You three, I didn't expect any less from you three." Max dash, "Mr. Aizawa, come, let's all four of us take a picture at our first victory of many." Lily dash, "Yeah." Her eyes sparkled and she stared to drag Aizawa. Aizawa raised an eyebrow. "And why are you going along with them, huh, problem child?" He looked at Izuku, who had also began to drag him. Izuku dash, "'Cause we need to celebrate this victory before you go off and put us through more training." Both Lily and Max nodded, which caused Aizawa to sigh. Even though he looked annoyed that they were making him take a picture of you, looked closely at the picture, you can make out a small smile that was hiding behind Aizawa's scarf. You can also notice that the smile Izuku was displaying was the brightest one he's given off so far in UA due to the fact he had Aizawa in a one-arm hug. The weekend has passed after the sports festival. Right now the three friends were waiting for Aizawa in their new and modified classroom. Izuku, looking around amazed, this place is way too comfortable. Lily dash, I put 20 that Aizawa designed it to be more comfortable for his nap time. Max dash, there's even a bed here, he yelled in shocked. Aizawa, coming in, alright brats, welcome to your new MS Modified Hero Academia. He smirked heavily. All three started to have a panic at their sadistic teacher's remark. Aizawa dash, for starters, before we go get your schedules from Nizu, I have a few announcements. He walked up to the stand. First of all, once again, congratulations on getting first place in the sports festival. He gave Hi's iconic Aizawa grin. Second, since the public didn't know you were hero students, I've decided to contact some underground heroes I've worked with in the past and told them of your predicament, and some of them have sent internship request. Lily dash, why don't we just go on patrols with you, Mr. Aizawa? She asked, interrupting Aizawa. Aizawa activated his quirk on her cause she interrupted him. If you have a question, raise your hand. He sighed. And to answer your question, it's 'cause you can't get all your experience and workflow from one person. Eventually I will take you all on patrols, but that's later on when you have more experience in both quirk use and hero regulations. Max dash, so what you're basically saying is we have to prove ourselves ready for the real underground hero work? Aizawa activated his quirk Aegean, this time on Max. Yes. He grunted, now third, before Midoriya interrupts me. He looked at Midoriya, who already had his mouth open ready to speak. You three will be choosing hero name with Midnight, so good night. He grumpily got into his sleeping bag and went to a corner. Once Midnight came in and explained the importance of hero names and how if you choose a random name later on you could be stuck with it against their preferences. Once they got to brainstorming, Max was the first one up. Max dash, alright, I've decided. He got up and went to the stand. I chose the voice hero, Echo. Midnight claps her hands, impressive and very suiting, approved. She smiled. Lily, Ms. Midnight, I've also decided. Midnight dash, great, come up and present. Lily went up to the stand. I chose the Night Fog hero, Mist. She smiled. Midnight, oh, very creative way to use your quirk's name as your hero name, approved. She clapped her hands. Now then, Midoriya, have you decided? Izuku sighed while having his head on the table. Can't choose. Midnight dash, that's okay, you have the remaking of this year and the beginning of next year to fully decide. Max had a light bulb go off on his head. Oh. I know. Izuku, why not Keishi for short of Keshigomu, which means erase, since your quirk is so similar to Mr. Aizawa. Midnight dash, oh, that's perfect, definitely approved. She licked her lips when she turned back to Izuku. Lily dash, Midnight, I'd appreciate it if you didn't go off on one of your wild fantasias here. She started radiating deadly aura, which made Max grin at Izuku, who just blushed. What the four didn't know was that Aizawa had a flashback to when his name was decided when he heard Izuku's name be chosen. It brought back distant memories that brought tears to Aizawa's eyes, since he remembered how Oboro was in full support with of the name. When Aizawa turned around to look up at the three friends smiling and having fun, he saw the images of present Mike Oboro and himself in his students, which made him give a genuine smile. Aizawa started getting up. All right, problem children, since you've decided your names, now follow me to the principal's office. He walked out, followed by the three fitness, silently chatting. Midnight still in the classroom. Now that I think of it, Izuku looks a lot like Aizawa. She put her index finger on her cheek. Could it be? Nah, there's no way, I'm probably imagining things. She smiled and went to the teacher's lounge to get ready for her next class. When the three students and Aizawa arrived at Niza's office, the door opened once again without them even getting to knock, which creeped them out a little bit. Were slowly getting used to their principal's shenanigans. Niza dash, welcome, I've been expecting you. He smiled and sipped his tea. All four dash creepy. Niza dash, yeah? He offered tea, which Lily and Max accepted, but Izuku turned down. Now then, let me explain how you three schedule is gonna rock. Since you three are mostly ahead of your classes, they're mostly gonna be self-passed with Aizawa here giving you homework on Mondays, and it will be due the following Monday. You'll be able to work on it during homeroom though, he said chirpy after somehow getting a new cup of tea. You twos? He points at Lily and Max. Regular class will be after homeroom is over and will span until lunchtime, while I will Asani Midoriya here separate work. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you'll have heroic classes after lunch for the remainder of the school day. He sipped his tea. Tuesday and Thursday you each will have personal classes. Lily will be with Midnight and Max with present Mike seeing on how you share similar concepts, and Izuku here will share his 2 days. I will have him Thursdays and Aizawa will have him Tuesday. It took a while for the three of them to process all the information that was just dropped on them, but in the end they pulled through. After this conversation, Aizawa explained the different underground heroes that watched the sports festival and sent in a request. Izuku I do have a question though? He said in confusion. Aizawa, yes, what is it? Izuku, why is Edgeshot in the list? Lily yeah, I was eventually gonna ask that too. Isn't he a light hero? Aizawa technically speaking no. As you've all noticed, he does afternoon patrols, which in time do make him involved with the spotlight and is the reason why he's so high in the hero ranks, but he patrols way into the night, usually ending his patrol at 12 a.m., but sometimes he ends his patrol around 4 in the morning. He explained only to be confused what his students were doing. The three friends all huddled in a circle whispering with each other. Max Edgeshot sound like the way to go, doesn't it? Izuku will in a way, yeah, but we also have to think on other factors that the hero does and what we want to do when we graduate. Lily that, and also the fact that if we want to form a team when we graduate, seeing as how on most of Edgeshot well-known missions he usually does them in a team. Max, he peeks up to look at Aizawa. Forming an underground hero team after graduation sounds like a good idea to me, that way we can help each other and not fully end up like Mr. Aizawa. Both Lily and Izuku nodded. They stoped their huddle and explained to Aizawa that all three of them want to go to Edgeshot agency, which caused Aizawa to grin at his students' future suffering. Aizawa I'm only gonna say one thing, invest in comfortable sleeping bags. Max are we really gonna need them? Aizawa just nodded. Lily goodbye tinkle free face. Max please don't lie to yourself, Lily. Lily that's it, I am ending you. She started to chase him. Izuku and Aizawa just looked at them and had a seat drop at their behavior. Aizawa I'm not paid for this. They watched Lily chase Max around for a few more minutes until Izuku was called by Nizu to his office. Once he arrived there, Izuku just walking in cause he got used to the door opening. Did you need something, principal? Nizu I'm glad you finally arrived. Coffee. Eyes sparkled and accepted the coffee. Now then, when were you gonna tell me about Aizawa and you being related? Izuku spits out his coffee and started to cough. What do you mean, Nizu? He started to get nervous. Nizu cleaning some of the coffee that landed on him. You can't hide it forever, Izuku. I noticed during the sports festival you didn't reduce your opponent's quirk but rather erased it. He sipped his tea. Izuku sweat dropped at this and sighed. You right, truth is I'm Mr. Aizawa's son. Once he heard those words come out of his mouth, his eyes widened cause he expected him to be a distant relative but not his son. I wasn't aware that him and Ms. Joke had gone that fidash. Izuku sighed. I'm not Ms. Joke's son, I'm Mr. Aizawa's and his high school sweetheart's son. My mom had me shortly after they broke up and she wanted to tell him, but Nizu once she saw us Joke and Aizawa happy, she didn't want to ruin his happiness. This caused Izuku to nod and Nizu to sigh. Izuku does it hurt walking into class and seeing your own father but him only seeing you as his student? Yes. Do I wish I could just tell him and revive a hug from him every day, but I know I'm gonna make his life more complicated. Nizu just sighed, still not fully understanding human emotions. They talked a bit more on the subject, and Nizu agreed not to tell Aizawa on the condition that when Izuku was ready to tell him he will, which Izuku reluctantly agreed upon. When the bell rang and the three fiends were walking out of the UA gates. Max hey, you two, are you two free right now to go get food? He smiled heavily. Izuku yeah, why? Completely clueless. Lily nodded. Yeah, I don't have anything to do right now. Max great, cause I'm not have fun on your date. He runs off leaving a blushing Izuku and Lily. Izuku gore completely red. Just wait until I get my hands on him tomorrow. The stomach growls. He rubs the back of her head. Izuku blushing, so you wanna go get food? Lily nodded emberously and they both went off to a cafe nearby. On their way there it was an awkward silence, but the pesky cat appeared out of nowhere on a bike pushing Izuku close enough to Lily where she grabbed onto him, causing both to blush when they realized. When Izuku looked up to see the pesky cat riding off to the distance, it just gave Izuku a smug look with thumbs up. After this they held hands for the remainder of their date. It is now the week of the internships and the three friends were at the train station. Aizawa dash. Alright problem children, remember don't use your quirk unless told to. Also don't wear your hero costumes unless instructed to. I can't have you three breaking any laws and cause trouble. I'd like to still have you in my class. All three dash. Yes Aizawa-sensei, they said in a deadpan tone. Max dash. So what you're basically saying is that do not cause trouble for others, wait until we get back to cause trouble for you. He smiled innocently. Aizawa just sighed and activated his quirk on them. God damn it problem children. This caused the three to immediately run into the train who arrived shortly beforehand. Izuku in the train heavily breathing. Why do realize he's gonna give us so much homework when we get right back. Max dash, worth it. He laughed a bit, causing Lily to sigh in frustration. The train ride was mostly calm and boring. Izuku was on his phone most of the time and Max was mostly looking at the scenery while Lily decided to take a nap. While on the ride Lily managed to find her way on to Izuku and was asleep with her head on his shoulder. This caused Max to annoy Izuku mostly the whole way to the agency. Once they got to their destination, Izuku woke up thinking how cute she looked. Lily, when she woke up, started to madly blush when she realized she slept on Izuku the whole way. Once the train ride came to an end and they stepped out of the train station, they met up with one of Edgeshot's sidekicks who took them to the agency. Izuku walking with the other two. So any ideas on how Edgeshot's training is gonna be? Lily dash, no clue. She turns to Max who shook his head signaling no. Once they entered Edgeshot's office, a knife flew past Max's face. Izuku eyes widen. Lily, quickly use your quirk to get us covered. He also activated his quirk on Lily, increasing her quirk's power. Dash, quick thinking, I like that, but I'm gonna have to end you plans before they begin. They activated their quirk and quickly went towards the sound. You three are finished. He quickly cuts them, but suddenly they get wrapped. Izuku with his quirk activated on. Don't try it, I have your quirk disabled and you're cornered. Has him wrapped with his emergency metal wires. Dash, very impressive. He looked over towards the shadow that was coming from the mist only to see Lily smiling while holding swords made out of mist at Edgeshot's neck, and Aegean Towers the opposite side only to see Max getting ready to unleash a sonic boom at him. Jesus, what have they taught you three at you? Izuku, he looked closely at who they captured. Wait a minute, Edgeshot. When he said this, Lily and Max's eyes widened and quickly turned off their quirks. Edgeshot chuckled a bit. I was gonna surprise you three, but I think the one that was most surprised here is me. Once he got out of the restraints, I guess full introduction, Ardu, I'm the ninja hero. Edgeshot, it's a pleasure to have UA's three future underground heroes under my wing for internships. I was kinda surprised when I received a call from UA telling me how all three of you wanted to intern under me. The three introduced themselves and they started to talk about what to expect from the internship. Edgeshot dash, for the remainder of the day, since I'm gonna have rethink my life choices on how I got outsmarted, each of you will basically shadow a sidekick and learn how to do basic paperwork for heroes, since that's basically the same thing for underground heroes. Tomorrow we will do a training exercise with my sidekicks to see the extent of your teamwork. The following 2 days we will be going on patrol, and on the final day we will review everything you've done for the internship and what you will need to work on when you get back to UA. Thus the internship officially started for the three, and they went off to find a sidekick to start learning the paperwork. This included mission reports to the Hero Commission, daily reports for things that happen in office and out of office. Overall it was pretty boring. By the end of the day they were taken to 2 deeper rooms to call it a night and get ready for tomorrow's training. When morning came on the boys' room, Izuku was kicked out of bed by Max, who was dead asleep. Izuku walking back to the bed with a cup of ice-cold water. Got the nerve to disturb my morning, I'll show him. Max, sleeping talking. Oh yeah, nothing beats the nice sand palm trees appealing girls, and of course nice and cool we dash. In his dream he's suddenly flushed by a tidal wave causing him to jolt up. I am up. He looked around only to see Izuku laughing his butt off. What the hell was that for? Izuku, it's your fault for kicking me off bed. Now get ready the training, Desi, I'll start soon. He left the room. Soon they met up with Lily going downstairs to the training area. Edgeshot dash. Good morning you three, today you'll be fighting me and these three besides me head on. You'll be allowed to use your quirks and support gear. After all, a fair fight in the underground hero world does not exist. Now then, ready, start. The three immediately reacted and got into positions, this which caused Edgeshot to be impressed. Izuku was in front, Lily was in the middle, and Max was in the back to provide support from afar. For the first few minutes no one moved, but after a while Lily decided to make the first move by making a light mist roll appear, which made Edgeshot and his team feel slower. This caused the chain reaction of the sidekicks starting to engage and thus causing Izuku to charge right in, but instead of going for the sidekicks, he went straight for Edgeshot with his quirk activated. Izuku dash. Right now that quirk of yours is our biggest threat, so nullifying your quirk and keeping you busy while helping my friend's quirk be stronger is my priority. He gave a small smirk. Edgeshot, feeling his body heavy and feeling doubt in his skills from Max's siren quirk, coming up with a plan without even saying a word. You three must trust each other's skills. Unlucky for you, a scenario like this is basic when raiding a Ganga base. He pulls out kuni and invades Izuku, who is using his own kuni knives combined with his metal wires. Lily, with the increase in power from Izuku's quirk, managed to make a bow out of mist, which took some time, but Max managed to cover her while she consecrated. When she finished, she started to shoot arrows at the sidekicks and sometimes send an arrow at Edgeshot to give Izuku time to blink. Max used his quirk to put different emotions into the sidekicks and Edge's hit, which included doubt, fear, and sleepiness, while also fighting in hand-to-hand combat. Izuku also made sure that whenever a sidekick got too close to the others, he disabled their quirk. But after some time and managing to defeat 2 out of the 3 sidekicks, Izuku was overwhelmed by Edgeshot and got captured by being pinned to the ground, and gave Lily and Max the option of surrender or letting Izuku die. Max quickly increased Edgeshot's feeling of confidence, which created an opening for Izuku to use his wires to grab onto the dealing and escape. When he landed next to Max and Lily, they all three nodded and they exited the ring in a tactical retreat. After dismissing the sidekicks, good job you three, you did well. Now let's talk about what went well and what needs improvement. Overall, even as first years, you managed to defeat 2 out of 3 sidekicks, which is very impressive, he said, which brought a smile to the three. Now then, biggest flaw I saw was Izuku's failure to call for help. I purposely made you think you were holding me off so you didn't call for help. Now that's something you should be careful with. Don't assume you got everything under control. If a fight's going for too long, they might be luring you into a trap. Izuku nodded at this and wrote it down on a notebook that everyone was confused on how he got it. Now then, you two's biggest flaw was the lack in actual fighting experience. I'm guessing you two weren't trained before coming to UA in actual fighting techniques. This caused both to sigh and nod, which made Edgeshot chuckle. You'll probably want to learn some fighting techniques, maybe have Izuku teach you some stuff, otherwise you'll be throwing random punches with no actual footing to back them up. Now overall your teamwork was well, you covered each other's blind spots and helped each other when you saw that one needed added help. Keep this up and you'll be a force of nature. After this talk, Edgeshot dismissed them to go back to learning the paperwork from the sidekicks. The next 2 days were the patrols during the day of them doing paperwork with only a sidekick watching over them in case they missed something. They were finally taken on a patrol in the afternoon till 11 p.m. Nothing too interesting happened on patrols besides them learning how to properly maneuver around the tops of buildings. Of course, there were also small incidents like muggings and a robbery. Izuku, Lily, and Max quickly dealt with these incidents, with Edgeshot following from afar, only truly getting involved if need be, and thus that's how they found themselves in their last day of internships in Edgeshot's office. Edgeshot: now then, we've made it to the end of internships, and color me impressed with your dedication. You've all seriously taken what we've talked about to heart. He smiled. Now then, let's go over how your patrols went. He turned to the screen and pulled out CCTV footage from cameras of the city. I recommend in the future to ask for footage of anything you can get and going frame by frame to go over anything you can improve on or small details you might have missed, even if you made a mistake. And you know you've made a mistake, that's when it's more crucial to get the video to be able to learn from it. They went over everything and talked about what went right and what they could have done better. After that, they were given a paper with information about a mission and they were tasked to put together a mission report from the information they were given. It was now time to go back to UA, and Edgeshot decided that he would escort them to the train station. Edgeshot dash. Now listen up you three, I want to let you know that I will accept you all for work studies once you get your provisional license. You all bright pride to the UA name and also bright pride to my agency. I'm happy I got to have you for my internships. Until we meet again. Max. Until we meet again, senseis, 3 nights, will see you soon. Lily/Izuku confused noises. Max dash. What, I thought we deserve a cool title. After all, we're survivors of Mr. Aizawa's expulsion marathon. This caused both to chuckle and look back at Edgeshot. Lily, you heard the man, next time we meet it's gonna be as UA's provisional licenses nights. Izuku dash. And next time we will manage to defeat you and your team. Edgeshot smiling. I expect nothing less until we meet again. The weekend after the internship programs, the UA staff was reviewing the notes each internship and work study made. Nizu dash. Now that we're done with the second years, should we move on to our favorite trio? He gave a devilish smile while drinking his tea. Vlad King. I still don't understand why Aizawa gets all the good kids. Depressed Vlad noises. Aizawa dash. I'm just that good. He sipped on his 14th coffee. Midnight dash. Will, it was a surprise when we were all told they wanted to follow the same path as you, Aizawa. She kicked her lips while looking at Izuku's profile, which made Aizawa angry for some reason. Present Mike dash. I can't help but feel like history is repeating itself cause those 3 remind me of me and shows time in you. He gave sad smile. This caused the room to become quiet. Midnight. Let's forget about that for now. I bet 20 Lily and Izuku are going to be a couple by their second year. She said, trying to lift the spirit. Snipe. I put down 30 that Lily is gonna be the one to confess instead of Izuku. He said, understanding what Midnight was trying to do. Nizu smiled at his staff's efforts to cheer up the atmosphere. Anyways, let's see what Edgeshot has said. This statement caused everyone to quiet down. Overall, the reviews were glowing. There wasn't much in the flaws department that isn't due to lack of experience. This caused the staff to not only be shocked but impressed, since internships serve to pinpoint the flaws of students. Edgeshot allowed the 3 to act on their own, with Edgeshot following from afar and only stepping in if he deemed it necessary. He allowed them to act as if they were in a work study and in total stopped 23 different crimes together, with Edgeshot only having to interfere twice. He said excitedly. Aizawa dash. Sorry to interrupt Nizu, but I would also like to add something. He looked at Nizu, who nodded. After internships ended, Edgeshot sent me a personal message that he wished I brought up in staff meeting regarding those 3, he said. He started to read the message of his phone. Edgeshot's letter. It's in my professional opinion that I recommend that UA consider allowing the 3 to take the provisional exam during their second semester. The 3 of them were able to take out one of my sidekicks and still be able to fend me and 2 bonus sidekicks, though I admit I didn't go 100% in the fight, my sidekicks did. The 3 have shown a critical level of thinking on par with pro heroes and have the abilities of sidekicks. Already. As such, it's my recommendation for them to take the provisional exam so I can start work studies with them, which I've already offered to them. The entire staff was silent after Aizawa finished. Not shortly after, the only sound you could hear was Nizu's maniac laughter all over UA. When the staff managed to get Nizu to stop laughing like a maniac, they started to talk about Edgeshot's recommendation. The students were back at UA and the trio was enjoying their time in their new classroom, talking about the most random things. Aizawa, walking into class. Alright Bish, sees the 3 already in their desk looking at him. He smirked. Alright, listen up, UA has decided that we will be doing you final exams. We will be testing your knowledge of the first/second year exams for you 2 points at Lily and Max, and your second/third year knowledge, seeing as how Nizu decided to give you an informal exam before. After those are done, we will be having the physical exam. You will not be told what exactly they are until the day off, so all I can tell you is to train your hardest plus ultra style. he said in a deadpan tone. Soon they were given their first/second year exams, which took 2 days complete since they had the whole exam from both semesters. On the third day they were given the exam for the current semester. They were each on overall the breezes through them, which made Aizawa write down notes to later give to Nizu to inform him of his progress. On the forsyth day they were given one last day to train what they felt the needed to before the physical exam that Friday. Now the three found themselves after school on a Friday with all the teachers present. Lily's eyes widened seeing all the teachers. We're fighting the teachers, are we? This caused the other two's eyes widen and to look at Nizu, who only grinned and nodded. Nizu — indeed you are, and not only that, the staff won't have any restrictions placed on them. He sipped his tea. Now then, the rules are as followed: no lethal attacks. No one is out until a KO or forced surrender or captured. I will call a KO if need be, but overall you will have 45 minutes. Any questions? Before anyone could respond, good, let's begin. He went to his chair. Soon the three were given the information on who they were fighting and noticed that each had a gimmick Edo combat them in areas they lacked in. Like Izuku, who was up against Ectoplasm Snipe and Cementos. Lily was up against Eraser and Present Mike, while Max was up against Power Loader and Midnight. Izuku was up first. He was walking down the fake city where the entrance exam was held, mumbling to himself about the possible plan his teachers could have to take him down, until he heard a chuckle from behind, causing him to quickly turn to see his teachers. Ectoplasm — interesting ideas you got there. You'd truly be a terrifying opponent in the future, he stated with a chuckle. I'm not that good at fight scenes, so bear with me. Izuku embarrassed. I mumbled that out loud, didn't I? He asked with Ectoplasm nodding. Suddenly he felt something fly by his cheek. When he turned to look at it, he saw a tranquilizer dart, which made him quickly take cover and get away as fast as possible. As he made some distance, he started going in the general direction the bullet came from, but not entirely rushing in case it was a trap. Soon enough Izuku landed on a nearby building close to the direction where the tranquilizer came from and started to look around until he found Snipe looking all over the place for him. Although he had a good opportunity to rush him, he decided against it and looked around the areas where Snipe was, and sure enough he found Cementos bear a corner, keeping an eye on Snipe in case he rushed in. So Izuku decided to go around and deal with Cementos first before dealing with Snipe. Izuku landing a bit away from Cementos, he started to rush in with Cementos' eyes widening and tried to start sending cement at Izuku, who disabled his quirk, leaving him open to Izuku's metal's wires, which managed to grab a hold of him. Sensei, did you know metal wires conduct electricity? He said with a fish-eating smirk. Cementos, confused, what does that have to do with the exam? Suddenly a horrible realization dawned on him when he saw Izuku's gloves sparkle up. He tried calling for backup, but it was too late. Izuku turned his electrical shock gloves on while having the wires wrapped around his hands, which were conductive. This sent the electrical current to Cementos, which eventually passed out, and Nizu announced his KO. After a few more minutes, some ectoplasm clones showed up and rushed Izuku into a hand-to-hand combat. Izuku was getting surrounding, but that didn't stop him from trying to find the real body between each clone he managed to take down. Eventually he was getting more and more exhausted from a never-ending fight, so he spread out his wires with each clone he took down, and when all his wires were spread out he stopped, confusing the clones. Izuku — well, this was a certainty of fun experience, but I'm gonna have to cut this meeting short. He started to bend down, causing the clones to look at where he was bending to, causing all their eyes to widen and to try and get out of there, but they were too late. Ultimate move, Wild Lardy. He yelled, unleashing an electrical current which managed to affect all of the ectoplasms, leaving the real body stunned and the clones destroyed. I am so glad I thought about this widespread attack. He stared to walk to ectoplasm to KO him, but suddenly felt something hit his arm and he turned to see a tranquilizer dart sticking in him. Oh poop. He looked up, seeing Snipe swirling his pistols around his finger. While slowly losing conscious, he managed to pull a sleeping fart of his own and managed to throw it at Snipe's foot, who was celebrating. Snipe felt something hit his foot. Huh? He looked down, seeing the fart. He looked back up at Izuku, who had fallen to the foot, and Cementos, who was out of the stunned state, trying hold in his laughter. Oh, that's not good. He fell to the floor, slowly losing consciousness. The match was called. With Lily, even though she managed to create a fog thick enough for Aizawa to not be able to erase her quirk, most of the time it was blown away from present Mike, so she had to rely on hand-to-hand combat and sneak attacks. She managed to capture Mike in a trap, but this only led to a hand-to-hand fight with Aizawa, who was able to capture her in his capture tape after. With Max, he listens to the advice Izuku and Lily gave him and changed his voice into a student's voice. Getting hurt, this caused Midnight to instinctively go into action and help, which gave Max enough time to be able to engage Power Loader in a fight but also put him to sleep. It didn't help that when he finally managed to put Power Loader to sleep, Midnight showed up and put him to sleep. After some time of getting everyone back, they were all gathered in the spectator room with the trio all looking down, disappointed in themselves for not being able to succeed. Nizu asked them why they looked so done, and they gave the answer that they failed the exam. Nizu - while it's true you failed the fight, that wasn't the objective of this test. On the contrary, I think the staff agrees that you passed the true objective of this test. He smiled. Izuku asked what he meant, confused since he was understanding the point of the test of it wasn't to beat the teachers. Aizawa, problem child, this test had a hidden feature and it was for us to see if you were ready to partake in the hidden portion of this test, which is to take the provisional license exam. This caused all three's eyes to widen. Midnight - indeed we all had our concerns for letting you three take that test, seeing as how you're only first years, but seeing as how Edgeshot nominated you for the test, we decided to test you three. You three could have passed the test but still fails the purpose of this test if we felt like you weren't ready for the provisional exam. She smiled at the three. Nizu - so it's decided we will allow you three to partake in the exam. He grinned. You have 1 month's worth of training before the exam, so you better prepare, cause Aizawa won't hold back. He sipped his tea as if he didn't just cured the three's existence. This caused the three to gulp and look at Aizawa, who had a SHT eating grin. The three friends have been training for a month now for the provisional exams. During this time, the teachers have made their training ruthless at the three's request. Since they were ahead of their studies, Nizu decided to stop their school subjects and instead fully focus on hero training to take advantage of the entire school day. Of course, this didn't stop the Izuku and his friends from studying outside of school. Training POV. Aizawa - alright brats, since we only have a month of training before the exams, we're gonna develop ultimate moves. Max, he raised his hand. Is there a limit to these ultimate moves? Aizawa - not really, it should be a move that guarantees your victory. He sipped his coffee. Lily, so kinda like Izuku's move where not only he disabled our opponent's quirk but boosts ours. Aizawa - exactly, that could be considered a ultimate move. Izuku - then I guess I have a head start once Aegean. He smirks at the two who roll their eyes at him. But that aside, I think I want to focus on not straining my eyes as much. I've already gone through 25 eye drop bottles since the year began. Max, that's tough buddy, trying to run it in his face. Lily just giggled at their little bickering. So they began their ultimate move training and it went well. Lily's ultimate move was creating a large mist area and throwing daggers made out of with different affects. What Max did was using his quirk to put as many emotions and feelings into a person, causing them to temporarily go emotionless and numb. This caused Recovery Girl to scold him and tell him to only use it as a last result. While Izuku did manage to extend the usage of his quirk before he strained himself. It was now time for the provisional exams and the three found themselves outside the stadium with Aizawa and Nizu. Nizu - alright kids, this is a next big step in your time at UA, so any nerves you have are understandable, but make sure you put them away when you're down there in the exams. He smiles. Now then, you ready, cause it's time to go. All 5 plus ultra. Aizawa-kun, you're here? Aizawa, eyes widen. Ami? What are you doing here? He grunts. Ms. Joke - let's get married. She said, hyperactive. Max - wow, never saw that one coming. He grins, heavily planning to use this info to annoy Aizawa. Lily, I'm surprised someone wants you, Aizawa-sensei. She said in shock while Izuku just stares quiet. Ms. Joke, Aizawa-kun, I thought all the second years already got their license? She said in confusion. Aizawa - that's because they did. These are our secret first-year hero students. Ms. Joke, completely shocked. But in the sports festival you guys said you expelled them. Izuku took a deep breath, trying to hide his sadness, and smiles. That's because we wanted to use this as undercover training for underground hero work. He kept on smiling, but Lily and Max knew something was off. This surprised Ms. Joke, but sadly they couldn't stay any longer and chat cause the exams were starting. Examiner, welcome students to this year's provisional exams. The exams will be composed of 3 different parts, each part testing your understanding of the hero work and what it truly means to be a hero. We will be starting with the written part of this test, so if you could please follow the staff to classroom and we will begin. So the student were taken to the mini classrooms of 150 students per class. The overall written test was boring and Izuku Lily felt like they overstudied, but Max did have some trouble. After the written test was over and they changed into their hero gear, everyone was waiting for the next part of the exam to start. Izuku did receive a text from his grandpa wishing him good luck in the exams, which caused him to smile. Lily dash, hey Izuku, I have a question for ya. Izuku dash, shoot. Lily dash, when Ms. Joke came to us earlier I noticed that you seemed sad. Did something happen? Are you okay? Max dash, yeah man, I noticed too. Izuku sighed, it's complicated. Ms. Joke didn't do anything if that's what you're thinking, but it's kinda hurts to see her and Mr. Aizawa together a bit. Both Max and Lily were confused. I'll tell you more later, this kinda sound like I love her. He laughed awkwardly. Max laughed a little. Yeah, I think we need more detailed explanations that sounded different from what I think you were trying to explain. Examiner dash. Alright everyone, this portion of the exam you have been given sensor pads and softball. Your task is to eliminate at least 3 different opponents. To do this you must get the different sensors on you to glow a bright red. Izuku looks over at the 2 and smirks. Let's bend the rules a bit. Follow my lead, you 2. We won't want to be a part of the tradition this year. Both nodded. Yeah. They smiled. Max dash, let's show these second years what UA's 3 knights are made of. Examiner, Geo go. Theo. Soon enough most schools started trying to go for the 3 friends, but they weren't anticipating a Lily using her quirk to bring in a thick mist, causing the area around the 3 to almost be unreachable, and while most students tried to get through the mist, the 3 used this to flank their ranks. Izuku dash, we only need 15 points each. If we each land a hit on the same opponents, then we're good to go. They both nodded. Max, let's use the shadows to our advantage. Lily and Izuku both nodded and did their best to mask their presence. They traveled through the shadows and Lily's mist and found 3 opponents from Shiketsu High trying to get through the mist. Izuku quickly captured them using his wires and brought them to an ally, while Lily used her mist to make them sleepy and Max used his quirk to make them drunk to secure they wouldn't fight back, and each quickly dealt with them. When they got to the place, people that passed the test went to. The person at first didn't want to let them in, but when Izuku explained his perspective on how hero teams should work together to take out the same opponent, then that concept should also apply to the test since it's supposed to be a simulation of the real world, and with this the person didn't have anything to say, so they reluctantly agreed to it. Back in the stands with Nizu and Aizawa, Nizu felt really proud all of a sudden and had a huge grin on his face, scaring mostly everyone nearby. Soon enough the last portion of the provisional exam started, and it was a search and rescue where the students needed to help rescue a catastrophe zone. Izuku running through the destroyed city with the other 2, and found a group of civilians surrounded by flames. Lily quickly create a fence mist around the flames. Max, use your quirk to calm down the civilian and ask them questions. I'll check on the injured. They both nodded and followed the orders. Izuku did his best to attend to major wounds some civilians had so they wouldn't fake die. When they were finished they helped escort them to the safe zone. After that they returned back to the city. Max dash, hey, if the test is supposed to be a simulation of a real-world catastrophe, then wouldn't villains try and take advantage? As soon as the words left his mouth there was an explosion. Lily, with a bruh face, you just had to say it, didn't ya? They quickly ran and saw Gang Orca with his sidekicks playing the role of the villains and causing trouble. They saw a group of fake villains trying to corner some civilians and quickly acted. Izuku and Lily engaged into the fight while Max quickly helped get the civilian out of there. Soon enough when Max returned he found Izuku and Lily both taking cover behind a destroyer's car and took cover with them once he saw a sidekick shooting out lasers. Max dash, just like the sports festival, huh? Lily dash, you and I have very different memories from back then. Then they saw multiple civilians getting hurt from the debris. Izuku dash, You think you two can hold them off? Max dash, for you it be in Homer, he grinned and got his quirk ready to launch attacks. Izuku dash, just to be safe. He activated his quirk on both of them, increasing their quirk strength. Lily, OHY, she creates a bow and arrow out of mist, JOW'll cover YA. She grins. Izuku quickly ran to the area where he saw a lot of the civilians flee too while getting shot at by lasers. Once he got there he saw multiple other contestants there as well. Extra 1, what the F, are they trying to kill us? Gang Orca is ranked 6th. Izuku lands on top of a car in front of them. We need heroes in the buildings around us. There's civilians inside who flees to get out of danger. They're right in the line of fire from those lasers. All of you take them to the basements or back to the safe zone. We just need to get them out of the line of fire. If you can't take them back to the safe zone, then I need you to make a perimeter on the 9th. He ordered them. Extra 2 dash. Who the F out, you in charge? Extra 1. Why should I take orders from you? Suddenly there was a huge explosion in the back and sidekicks rushed into them. One came up to Izuku but was quickly knocked out with a jab to the face from Izuku. After that another approached with his quirk, but Izuku quickly turned it off and captured him with his metal wires only to electrocute them. Extra 1. Just looking in awe until he finished. I need heroes in those buildings. He turned on his radio. I need you guys to make a perimeter on 9th Street. While the other contestants followed the orders Izuku gave them, he returned to Lily and Max who were fighting Gang Orca. Max teared and heavily breathing saw Izuku sneaking up on Gang Orca from behind and smirked, "Hey old whale, don't tell me you're getting teared." Gang Orca dash, please, you're 30 years too early to try and challenge me into a winning fight. Lee sees Izuku and got ready to launch her attack. It seems you're forgetting something about us. She smirked. Gang Orca, oh, and what might that be? Acting eraserhead from Max's quirk. All 3, WRUA's 3 knights and we won't surrender until we bring you down. Izuku quickly captured Gang Orca in his metal wires, catching him off guard and surprising him. Lily surrounded Gang Orca in a mini hurricane of mist which was making him feel nauseous, and Max started doing a sonic boom at him to try and throw him off. All 3, ultimate move Tropical Storm. As soon as they said that, Izuku unleashed his taser gloves that were holding the wires holding Gang Orca, electrifying him. Not even a second later, after Izuku used his taser wires, the alarm ranged, signifying the end of the exam. When the 3 stopped using their quirks and Izuku retracted his wires, Gang Orca fell on his back. Gang Orca dash, is it done? He asked, just wanting to go home at that very moment, not wanting to deal with the students anymore. Max chuckled seeing the hero like this. Yeah, it's done, sorry old man, you really pushed us to use our secret combo attack. Gang Orca dash, I am so glad you 3 want to be heroes, they laughed. The 3 also decide they also wanted to lay down from how exhausted they were, and shortly after all 4 were taken to a nurse's office. When they were dismissed and were outside the exam location with their new provisional license, they met up with Nizu and Aizawa. Max dash, yo old man, we did it. She smiled. Aizawa sighed but couldn't help and smile. You 3 surprised everyone in the stadium with your finishing attack, you know. Nizu, smiling like a maniac, indeed you showed everyone why UA is the top hero school without disappointing. Indeed you 3 have. I was honestly amazed how 3 students were able to take down a top 10 hero who wasn't holding back. They smiled and Nizus and Aizawa eyes widened. Nizu dash, Ms. President, what are you doing here? MDim President dash, I just came to congratulate the 3 new record holders for having some of the highest points since the exam started. She looked at the 3, with the demonstration you put out today, we have great expectations for you. Aizawa, they won't disappoint since they will be working as underground heroes, so you can count they will get their job done. MDim President dash, I see very well, then I wish you good luck. She leaves. Nizu dash sighed, damn her, she's trying to recruit my most promising heroes. Izuku nervously laughed. How about we ignore that encounter for now and instead take a picture together to commemorate this moment? Both Lily and Max nodded and Nizu smiled at the idea, with Aizawa groaning. In the end they all took the picture, and in the picture, although Aizawa looked like he didn't want to be there, you could see a small smile on his face. After some more pictures they decided to head back to UA and get ready for the remainder of the year and their future work studies. Shortly after they three got their provisional license, Aizawa forced them to take a break. During the break the three would hang out a lot and Izuku and Lily would sometimes hang out by themselves with Max and Midnight spying on them, although they haven't confessed it was obvious that they liked each other. Aizawa walking into class, "All right brats, welcome back to hell?" Lily, "Is he gonna do this every time?" Aizawa sighed, "God damn it problem children." Izuku, "What did we even do?" Aizawa become a pain in my butt. There was an awkward silence. Anyways, moving on, now that you have your license you can start working in a work study. I'm guessing you'd like to start working with Edgeshot? Aizawa "Alright, I'll start filling your application to send to him. Out you guys start your homework or something?" And so they started whatever they had left, which was nothing, and started to talk about everything and anything. Later on in their day they had received notice that they were able to start immediately at Edgeshot's agency. So they got their flyers gear on and went off. Edgeshot, "It's good to see you problem children." He smiles. Max "Oh no, there's another one, everyone hide." Lily and Izuku, "Yeah." Edgeshot sighed, "Anyways, let's get started with what you're gonna do. Since you already have a vague idea on how we operate, you'll be sent out in a bit on patrol, but this time you'll truly be by yourselves. Any questions?" Izuku "Yeah, which route are we gonna take, cause last time you said there was 3 different routes you normally take." Edgeshot "You'll be taking route A. Any more questions?" He waited a bit after and no one asked anything. "Okay then, for now before sunset help out some sidekicks finish some work. When that's done you can go patrol." So they were off. They helped some sidekicks finish paperwork, but once all 3 were done and the sun was starting to set they left to start their patrol. Overall it was a peaceful patrol with minimal encounters. The days passed and the 3 were doing good. They still managed to be ahead of their studies. Izuku kept up his coffee bean gig making extra money. One day during patrol with the 3 they encountered someone Izuku didn't think he'd see for a while longer. Izuku walking with Lily and Max. "So any plans after this?" "I was thinking all 3 of us could go to the Air Oi Izuku." He runs up to him. Izuku turns around. "Miro?" Miro "Hey man, it's good to see you." Max "Izuku, you know him?" he said in confusion. Izuku "Yeah, me and him trained together for a while before I joined you. I didn't think I'd see him until he joins UA himself." He turns to Miro. "I've been great, how about you? I see you've been training more." Miro "Yeah, I have." He rubs the back of his head. "I see you've started your hero internships." Izuku "Hee, that's where you're mistaken, my dear friend Mai, and these 2 have our provisional license." Proud Izuku noises. Miro amazed, "Really, but aren't you a first year?" Izuku "Exactly, just shows how much we've worked to get here." He smiles. Lily sighed, "I'm surrounded by kids." She turns to Miro. "Here, let me do the job Izuku should have done. I'm Lily and this is Max." Miro laughed, "But I'm Miro Togata. It's nice to meet my future senpais." Max, getting a call from his radio, "It seems we're gonna have to cut this meeting short. Edgeshot called us to a hero meeting." He turns to Miro. "It was nice meeting you, man. We should hang out sometime," he said with a goofy smile. Miro, "Yeah, that'd be great, but I guess that will have to wait. Here, let me give you my number." After the exchanged numbers, Izuku, Lily, Max hurried to the meeting spot where they were told once they got there they saw a bunch of heroes in the meeting room waiting, so they sat down with Edgeshot. Now looking at the 3. I wasn't aware you had work-study students under you." Edgeshot. Edgeshot "Yes, they might be new to this, but I believe they're strong enough and ready to take on something like this." Night "Very well, now we are only waiting for Principal Nizu and Coffee Bean." He looks to the group of heroes. Nizu "It seems all of us are here." He smiles. Everyone turned to him. Random hero "But aren't we waiting for Coffee Bean the info broker?" Detective "That is correct." Nizu "That won't be necessary cause he's already here," he said with a small smirk. Night "Then where is he?" Nizu "He came with the provisional heroes." He calmly sipped his tea. Izuku "Really Nizu, didn't you say that you were gonna tell everyone?" This statement threw many people off. Night What do you mean, kid? You can't possibly say your coffee bean. His work should be far too advanced and on the same level as Principal Nizu. Nizu dash, quit the contrary knight. He is coffee bean, although it seems I forgot to give all of you his identity. He smirked like the demonic rat god he is. Every hero was shocked and speechless. Knight I dash, I see, then I'd like to have a discussion with him later then, but for now since everyone is here I'd like to discuss an issue that has become very apparent these past few weeks. He took a deep breath and looked at the files in front of him. As you've all realized, not only has gang activity become more apparent, but more and more gangs have started to show up in these areas, and I fear that it's gonna lead to something big. Random hero dash. Really, that's what you called me, hero, for some stupid gang activity? You can count me out of this. Call me when there's real danger. He stood up and left. Some more heroes also agreed with that statement and left. Max looked at Izuku. Sai, seeing the heroes leave, can't believe there's heroes who don't consider gang activity a real danger. Talk about fakes. Izuku dash, doesn't matter, they'll be put on my list of fake heroes I need to expose. He smirked just like Nizu and Aizawa, causing everyone remaining in the room to have a chill run down their spine. Knight I dash, let's forget about them for now. I'd like everyone here to take a file back to their office containing the reports of the different gangs, and if you find anything to please report it back to me. He looked at the remaking heroes who were nodding. Now that's done, you're all free to go. The remaking heroes left with the files that were given, but Izuku, Lily, Max, Edgeshot and Nizu stayed. Izuku dash, sorry Knight but if you'd like to talk to me, Max and Lily are gonna have to stay. I've worked with them smoggy to trust them with my life. He smiles at the two. Max dash, aw Izuku, I didn't know you felt that way, come here and give me a hug. He tries to hug him. Izuku dash, get off me, you ugly mug. Feel. Knight dash, I see, very well then. He looked at Nizu. I'm guessing he also goes to your school and that's the reason you stayed. Nizu sipping his tea, indeed, so what do you want to discuss? Knight dash, I'd like to make an offer for you, Shin. Izuku dash, and what might this offer be? Intrigued noises. Knight dash, what if I told you there's a quirk out there far more powerful than you could imagine, as well as holding the capacity to be passed down, and the current welder is seeking a successor? This caused Nizu's eyes to widen, knowing what he's talking about. Izuku dash, then I'd turn it down if you're asked me to be the next user of said quirk. It would be a nice offer, but things like this always have a downside, and my guess is someone is hunting down the users, since you said its current user, which imply the previous ones have either died or been killed. Knight Eye and Nizu's eyes widen, amazed that he was able to decrypt that from the information given. Izuku dash, if that's all, I think it's time for me, Echo and Mist, to head back to patrols. So they stood up, leaving a amazed Nizu, Knight Eye and Edgeshot, and went back on patrol. After this encounter, the heroes that stayed for the full meeting were more alert during their patrols, capturing any gang members and trying to interrogate them. One day during one of the Provisional Heroes patrol, Lily dash, hey Izuku, I was wondering if after this you'd like to go out on a date. She said while blushing. This statement caused Izuku to freeze up and blush hard. Max dash, wow, it's like I don't even exist, forever alone noises. Izuku dash, why I'd love dash. Suddenly there was a huge earthquake that stopped them from continuing to eat conversation. They each looked at each other and nodded and ran off to the blast zone. The three made their way closer to the impact zone. As they got closer, they saw countless buildings destroyed, so they quickly acted and started to save civilians. Those that they saved and could walk were asked to head out of the destroyed zone or help carry those who couldn't walk. Izuku looked over to the destroyed zone, and he knew he would remember the sight for the rest of his life. The level of distraction was humongous. There was a lot of kids crying, people begging for help, and a lot of corpses from those who couldn't save themselves in time. The three had already pulled out so many people as they made their way closer to the center of the impact zone that they lost count of just how many, but knew that each of them at least pulled out 180 people from the rubble. It had been a little over 2 hours since the earthquake had accrued. This was not counting the hours that the three had already been patrolling for the day. It was now around 10 p.m. While exploring near the center of the zone, they found a park filled with civilians and an old hero. Izuku dash, hey, is everyone okay here? He said with a smile. Dash, kid? What are you doing here? Lily dash, where 3 UA provisional heroes under Edgeshot's common. What's the situation? Civilian, seeing the 3 eyes widen, where saves Otis the 3 provisional heroes that patrol these areas in the afternoon. When he said this, there were some cheers and a few asking them for help. Lily, not being able to hear what the old hero said, she gestured towards Max to use his quirk to calm them down. Max, understanding her gesture, quickly used his voice quirk to give the civilians a soothing feeling. Izuku is seeing this. All right, now that everyone is a lot calmer, what's the situation? Gran Torino kid, the situation isn't good though. We have a little over 200 civilians here and no backup has arrived. Max all right Gramps, how can we help? Gran Torino sighed, I'm supposed to be retired and now I have to deal with a bunch of newbies. Anyways, since you're here, how confident are you guys with your combat? All pretty confident, they said in unison. Gran Torino all right then I propose we split up into 2 groups. Group 1 will be composed of me and one of you 2, and we will escort 100 civilians out of here. The remaining 2 will escort the rest a few minutes later, so we're not a huge target for any villains trying to take advantage of the situation. Max I say I go with you. My quirk will be more useful in case we find more civilians on the way out. That way Shin and Miss don't have to worry about any other injured civilians on their way out. Izuku, all right everyone, looks at Max and Lily, then at the scared civilians. No matter how scary it gets, you must always wear a smile on your face, got it? For in this world the ones who smile are the strongest of all. He yelled. After he said this, Gran Torino's eyes widened, seeing the outline of his former friend in Izuku. They quickly split the civilians into 2 groups. The first group under Gran Torino and Max left. 10 minutes later, Izuku and Lily headed out with their group. Lily, while walking, hey, how you holding up? Izuku teared, but I'll do. How about you? Before she could respond, her stomach growled and she began to blush. This caused him to chuckle. Here, take this. He pulled out a granola bar and handed it to her. He came to a stop, cashing everyone to stop as well, and he explained that they are going to take a quick rest since there's going to be a lot of movement from here on. Before she finished the granola bar, she decided to give half of it to Izuku and had a quick water drink from a water bottle she carried in one of her bags. When both were done, they continued their SCRT of the civilians, and along the way they encounter more civilians and got worried that something happened to Max's and Gran Torino's group, but couldn't let that affect them, so they kept up their smiles and included them in their escorts. Max's POV. Max hey Gramps, what is your quirk anyways? He said, curious. Gran Torino it's jet, it lets me shoot streams of air from the soles of my feet. Max that's gonna be good in case we need to quickly call someone for backup. Gran Torino I thought you were the goofy one out of the 3 of you? Max smiles, I am, but right now there's no time to act goofy in a serious situation. Suddenly they heard some rucks from the corner and quickly out their gates up, and once they did, a bunch of villains ambushed them from the corner. After a while of walking, Izuku and Lily heard something. Villain well, what do we have here? A bunch of snot-nosed brats that are hero in training. You 2 are running all of the fun, saving these people, you know. He yelled out. Let's change that. He snapped his fingers and more villains started to appear from the rubble. Izuku, who are you and what do you want? He asked the boss of the villains, who just started to chucking. The boss me? I'm the one that did all of this, and my name, you can call me Tremor. He smirked, and I'm the leader of the Viper Gang. And this was our declaration of war to the Wildcat clan. The people behind Izuku and Lily started to fear the worst, but Izuku gave them a soft smile. Izuku don't worry, we won't let them get you. Without anyone looking, he managed to press an emergency beacon once again, something that he has been doing since they started helping civilians, that he knew they were gonna need help, but to his future disappointment it was gonna be no use. Lily I'm gonna use my quirk to keep you hidden, stay together, we will deal with them. She smiled at them one last time before using her quirk to cover them in thick mist while leaving the center area open in case a helicopter or a hero from above could spot them. Tremor had 30 men come out of the rubble, and Izuku and Lily had no idea how strong their opponents were going to be, and they knew that Tremor was going to be very dangerous because he could likely cause another earthquake, and that's something they couldn't risk happening again, cause if it did, then the heroes that were saving civilians were going to need saving themselves, so they had to be very careful with this fight and how they approached it. They had a group of roughly 120 civilians that they needed to protect, and the two were the only things standing in the villain's way. Tremor had announced that some of the women he saw were quite the beauties, and he and his men couldn't wait to have new playthings. Lily and Izuku was disgusted by the man. Izuku - never, we won't let you touch a single one of them. Tremor just laughed. Oh, you are far outnumbered, you two. There are 2 of you with 30 of my men here and more on their way. Do you really think you stand a chance? Lily - it doesn't matter if we think we can win or if we are gonna lose. What matters is that we stop you, so get ready, cause UA's knights will stop you. She yelled, full of determination. Izuku - indeed, we have survived to be UA's last first-year hero core students, and we won't bring shame on their teachings. Both - so if you date, come, for we are here. They said with smiles of determination. Some villains were taken back, but they stood their ground. The civilians inside of the mist heard their entire speech and felt a wave of safety knowing that those 2 were protecting them. Some were even yelling their hero names. Civilians - go Mist, go Shin, you can do it. This only angered Tremor even more until he finally snapped and orders his men to attack Izuku and Lily. When the gang members charged in, Izuku quickly used his quirk to erase the villain's quirks as well as increased Lily's quirk's power. Lily managed to use her booster quirk to create cannons out of mist with the drowsy effect, as well as created a bow to shoot villains from afar, while Izuku went up close and used his wires to capture villains and quickly knock them out with his taser gloves. They didn't held back with their attacks since they knew this fight was gonna be to the death. Izuku and Lily both ignored the cries of pain from the gang members. Izuku even used some of them as battering rams while they were attached to his wires. As time passed, both noticed that even after taking so many of them out, their numbers were only increasing. Izuku - Lily, try calling for backup, this is gonna be a long battle. He yelled towards her. Tremor - now what would be the fun in that? He stated, even if you try, it's gonna be of no use. The rest of my gang is causing trouble all over the city, and even then one of my guys is blocking the signal. This statement worried the 2. Since the problem wasn't the gang members, cause in terms of skill level they were the same as regular thugs, maybe a bit stronger. The true problem was the numbers, and at the rate it was going, things weren't going in the 2's favor. Lily, heavy breathing. Hey, remember Aizawa-sensei is gonna be pissed if we die here, she said, trying to lighten the humor after the statement that was said. Tremor smirked. You 2 must be tiered. After all, you were some of the first to spring into action, which means you've been working for a long time now. It's been a little less than 3 hours since the destruction. Why not give us those people you're so desperately trying to protect, and we'll let you live? He grinned heavily. Both - never, for as long as we draw breath, we won't let you lay a finger on them. Tremor - then so be it. At that moment, Lily kept her cannons firing but instead charged in with Izuku in close combat. Both kept on switching on and off between their opponents to make them confused. A bit later on, Tremor joined the fight after seeing that even after 100 men showed up, they were still losing to 2 provisional heroes. Tremor - I must hand it to UA for training such powerful heroes. They truly live up to the name of the best hero school out there. You have managed to knock out at least 50 of the 100 of my men that have showed up. He charged at Lily since he knew that she was providing range support and it was becoming a problem. To his disappointment, Izuku got in his way while Lily kept on fighting the gang members with difficulty. The dark thought of them dying had passed their minds at that moment, and they knew if help didn't arrive soon, it would result in their deaths, since the villain was right. They were tired and drained from everything today. Even the villains that they had knocked out or caused large wounds to at the very start of the fight were starting to awaken again and rejoin the fight. They didn't have any time whatsoever to secure those villains since the others just kept them moving non-stop. This was a war and they were losing. After some time, Izuku's worst thought had come true and he heard a scream from Lily, So he dropped everything and went to Lily, and he barely managed to help her. Although some of her hero costume had been ripped, it still managed to cover her. It just didn't provide the added protection. He quickly took her back so she could rest a bit. Tremor dash, and then there was one. He had a evil smile. Izuku dash gore. He stood up, noticing that some of the mist covering the civilians had started to fade away. Did they leave us to die? Were some of the dark thoughts that passed his mind, but he quickly pushed them away. Izuku faced towards the villains, standing his ground, and once the fight restarted he became more brutal, this time breaking people's bones. Tremor dash, quite unheroic, aren't ya? Izuku dash, oh shut it, my teacher taught us the real world isn't gonna be fair, so why should I be? If there isn't a law against it, why should I use every tool at my disposal? Everything's fair game if we get desperate, Izuku said with a smile on his face, the same one that's been there since they started patrolling, even after so many injuries. The civilians started to cheer his name, and this caused Lily to get up and stand her ground with Izuku. Izuku looking towards Lily, you should rest up more. Lily dash shakes her head, and let you have all the fun, I'm part of his knights too, you know. Just smiled. Once again they charged at the gang members. This time Izuku pulled out 2 knives and Lily made swords, and they both were going for the killing blows. Tremor dash, I see you plan to take as many of you as you can with wide grave. Fine, then let's see who will kick the bucket first. He and his men kept on charging. Izuku dash started his fighting with Shockwave, and he managed to land a lethal blow to his chest, causing Tremor to back away, letting Izuku and Lily keep on taking out as many gang members as they could. Izuku and Lily kept on fighting for a few more minutes, until Izuku heard a thump from where Lily was standing. Izuku wasn't doing too well either. His entire body was sore, he was bleeding all over, and he knew if he didn't get medical attorney he would die, but he pushed that thought away and faced Tremor for what he hoped would be the last time. Izuku dash, seems it's just us two now, tell me, was it worth it? He said with a smile on his face. Tremor enraged, you damn heroes, you're willing to sacrifice yourself for a bunch of starvers? Why? He yelled. The civilians wanted to know as well, since the mist that was protecting them had but most faded completely and had seen their entire fight. They were sad at seeing 2 young kids die for them. They wanted to know what pushed them to fight for so long on their behalf. Izuku dash, I already told you we are 2 of the 3 knights of you. And we are proud to call ourselves true heroes. He yelled and looked at him dead in the eyes, so get ready, cause the Raven Black Knight is coming for you. He charged at Tremor and they were throwing punches left and right, but once Izuku saw the opportunity, he thrusted his knife into Tremor's chest, going deep enough that you could see the knife coming out of his back. Once Tremor fell to the floor dead, Izuku took some deep breaths only to remember Lily had fallen, so he rushed to her side. Izuku dash, Lily. He manages to hold her up a bit. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here, just hold on. He said with some tears. He holds his hand. It's okay. I know I'm not gonna make it. She looks into his eyes. Hey, don't cry, I'll be okay. Can you promise me something? Izuku dash, yes, anything, just don't leave me. He had tears running down his face. Lily dash, promise me you won't go of joining me on the other side. You must only die in a blaze of glory or at the very ripe old age. Izuku dash, hey, don't say that you won't die. You promised that you'd stand by me and Max's side. You still need to make something out of your life. I haven't even taken you out on a date. Lily dash, I'm glad I fell in love with you, Izuku. With her remaking strength, she leaned in and kissed him. After she pulled away with her dying breath, she gave him one last smile. Izuku wiped the tears off his face and picked her up, not wanting to leave her there for any villains to have their way with her diseased body. He wanted to keep on crying, but he knew he still had a job to do. Old civilian, oh Sonny, I'm truest sorry that you 2 had to pay the price for our lives. He kneeled to pay his respects, and soon enough everyone followed the old man's example. Izuku gave them a smile, even if the civilians knew it was a fake smile. We still need to get out of here before more villains show up. He started walking while everyone else followed behind him. After a few minutes of walking, they finally made it to a camp full of heroes and first responders. Once a paramedic saw Izuku's group, he quickly yelled at the others that they need to help the group. Izuku kept on walking to a tent where he put Lily's body on an open bed, only to hear Edgeshot rushing to him. Heavily breathing, kid. I reached here as fast as it was told, he said, only to stop in his tracks once he saw Lily, and before Izuku could respond to him, Izuku also passed out. Hisashi, I need a medic here quickly. He yelled out, and a couple seconds later 2 paramedics came and rushed Izuku to the hospital. Shortly after Izuku was taken, the old man approached Edgeshot and asked if he was their boss, which he responded with a yes, only to be told the tale of the accomplishments of Yue's knights. Everyone was listening in to the conversation and they were devastated. Edgeshot wanted to go massacre the remaining villains but couldn't, since other heroes would already be there to stop him from doing it. The civilians asked to be informed of Izuku's condition and where the Lily would be buried in the future, and Edgeshot gave the old man his information and took his. He promised he would call, but he needed to leave. He needed to make sure he didn't lose the last student of his. Edgeshot shortly after his encounter with the old man, he quickly got into his car. He needed to make sure he didn't lose his students. Flashback POV. Edgeshot was making reports in his office when one of his sidekicks barged in. Sidekick dash. Sir, the 3 provisional heroes just called through the radio. Apparently a villain caused an earthquake and we're reporting great casualties and injuries. We must hurry. Edgeshot. When he heard the news, he dropped everything. Go, I don't know how fast we'll get there, but villains are sure gonna take advantage of the situation. He runs out with multiple sidekicks following behind. On the way there, he asked for the 3's location, but they couldn't give him an exact place since the signal was being interrupted. Must be a quirk doing the jamming. Once he got there, he started giving out orders since he was the highest ranked hero. It had been 30 minutes since he arrived on site and 30 minutes to arrive, and he was looking through the makeshift outpost that the police set up to try and find his 3 students. It had now been 1 hour since he arrived, and he got a phone call from Yue. Niza dash. Edgeshot, I'm calling to check on the 3 since their patrol route was right next to the area of destruction. We've tried their personal phones, but they haven't picked up. What's the situation? He said in a tense voice. Edgeshot sighed. I won't lie to you, I personally haven't found them, but when I do you'll be the first to know. Right now I'm trying to ask medics on site if they have seen the 3, but so far nothing has come up. Nizu thanked him and hanged up. After some time of working, he saw an old hero rushing to them. Edgeshot dash. Identify yourself, he said with his hairs up. Dash. I'm a retired hero, Gran Torino. I was passing by when the situation occurred. But this is not the time for this shenanigans right now. I need backup. A group of villains attached the escort I was bringing with a provisional hero. I came here to try and get backup while he staked back. Edgeshot's eyes widened, thinking it's one of his 3 students. In what direction? Gran Torino dash. Southwest. I'm gonna go get more backup. He sped off. When Edgeshot arrived, he found a battlefield filled with knocked out villains and some dead ones as well. He also found a barely conscious Max, so he quickly took him to get help. He took over the escort that was hidden in a destroyed building per orders of Max, where they saw his heroic stand. After they arrived, a few more hours passed and Edgeshot was growing more worried until he saw paramedics rushing to something, so he followed them and his eyes widened seeing Izuku carrying Lily, and his eyes widened fearing the worst. He also saw an escort of 120 civilians. When Izuku went to a tent and put down Lily, he went to talk to Izuku, but before Izuku could respond he passed out. Flashback, and on his way to the hospital he called Yue. Niza dash. Hello Edgeshot, what's the situation? He said in a tense voice. Trying to speak but couldn't find the words to tell him. I'm sorry Nizu, go to XXX hospital. He hanged up. He wasn't sure how to tell them that they lost 1 student and may possibly lose their other 2. While Edgeshot was getting to the hospital, back at UA was a whole mess. The UA staff had been sitting in the meeting room waiting for news of the 3 students for so long. They couldn't finish any paperwork at all. Each and every single one of them was worried sick. They had all met the 3 and they had all grown attached to them, so when Nizu had hanged up with his talk with Edgeshot they were awaiting the news. But it never came. Instead Nizu threw his teacup, and at that moment everyone understood that one of them is dead, if not all of them. Nizu dash. Everyone contact Lily's family. Max's family and Izuku's grandfather should be with them, he said while looking down. Midnight dash. Can you at least tell us what the situation with the kids is? She said in a worried tone. Nizu dash. Edgeshot didn't specify, he only told us to meet him at XXX hospital. Aizawa dash, I say we all go the Lily's household so we all can arrive together at the hospital. This statement received nods from the other staff. After they went to pick up the families, they met Edgeshot at the hospital. Edgeshot walking to them, I'm so sorry. He looks down. At this moment it is unsure if Izuku will make it. Max is still in the operating as we speak and Izuku was taken in couple minutes ago. He said in a sad tone, as for Lily, she didn't make it. By the time they arrive at the outpost, Izuku was carrying her, refusing to leave her behind. She's a few tears. The statement made the parents cry silently. They knew that this was a risk with the hero job, but they didn't think that a tragedy would come this soon. That after waiting over an hour, a doctor arrived. Dr. Dash, I'm looking for anyone for Echo and Shin. The UA staff and the families quickly got up. Aizawa, worried, how are they, doctor? Doctor looks down, would you like the good news first or the bad news? Nejire dash, give us the bad news. He said in a tense tone. Doctor, looking around seeing everyone get tense, I'm sorry to say but Echo isn't gonna make it. He received to many fatal wounds. He may only have a few days left to live. After he said this, the parents fell on their knees and started crying. Nejire dash, what about the good news? He said, worried since he just found out he basically lost 2 students. Doctor sighed, Shin as of this moment is stable and should make a full recovery. I honestly don't know how he survived, but he managed to pull through. He should wake up within 3 hours. That's if he recovers, how we hope. The staff, although sad, held on hope. There was still a chance that things could go wrong with Izuku, but they pushed those thoughts away. Aizawa eat out a breath he didn't know he had. For some reason, ever since he met Izuku, he felt like there was a special connection between them. Of course, he cared for his other students, but he felt like a special parental connection with Izuku, so hearing that he would make it made him be glad. They eventually found themselves in a shared room that Izuku and Max shared after Nizu asked them to move them together. Edgeshot had gone to talk to the civilians and police who found the bodies of the gang members and villains, but they weren't gonna press charges since they had witnesses that said that all 3 didn't use lethal or excessive force until they saw they had no other choice, so instead the villain that was blocking the radio waves would be charged with the murders. After he returned, he looked at everyone. Alright, before I tell you anything, I'd like to say how proud all 3 made me. They truly brought Homer to my agency and to you. Now that is out of our way, I'm sure all of you are curious on what happened. Although we don't have Izuku's versions, we have the versions of the civilians and what the working surveillance cameras managed to capture. In total, the 3 took out a total of 200 villains by themselves. Izuku and Lily took out 135 villains and Max took out 65 villains. From what we were told, they all stood their ground, not letting a smile leave their face. Based on the witness reports, the 3 didn't use excessive force until they saw no other choice. As such, they aren't gonna be charged with murder. This lands everyone let out a sigh of relief. They refused to let harm come to the group and stood in the way of the villains. One villain, in particular, was important to all of these events. It was the leader of the Viper gang that had caused the destruction. Izuku had killed him when it became only them 2 left. As for Max, I'll let Pro Hero Gran Torino explain. He stepped to the side. Gran Torino sighed, our battle was kinda similar to Shin and Mist. Flashback. Max on guard, who are you and what do you want? Smirks, and why should I tell some brat and a old geezer my name? Gran Torino, kid, I don't like the numbers against us. If it was the 2 of us alone, we'd have no problem, but we have over 100 civilians that we need to protect. Max dash, Mr. Aizawa said that the world isn't fair, so me and my friends have trained to handle the unfairness like this. I just hope all that training pays off. It was quiet for a moment, neither side making a move, but eventually the villain acted and tried to target the civilians, but Max interfered and launched a range attack at him. He kept up launching attacks at the villains so they didn't get close, while Gran Torino used his quirk to fight up close. Gran Torino, stopping a bit behind, they just keep on coming. How you holding up, kid? Max breathing heavy, just peachy. He launched another. Dash, seems I underestimated you. But that's no problem, we'll take you out, then we'll get those civilians you're protecting. Max takes a deep breath. I won't let you touch them, after all I am one of UA's knights, and what kind of knight lets the people he is trying to protect get hurt? He rushed in with Gran Torino, this time using his quirk in close combat, and after a while more of fighting he turns to Gran Torino. Hey Gramps, go call backup. I'll hold them OFF for as long as I can, but the numbers are looking too good. Gran Torino, kid, I won't just leave you here. Max dash, I'll be fine, go. Gran Torino sighed and reluctantly left to get backup even though he hated it. Max turned to the people, you guys go find cover in one of the buildings, more heroes will be arriving soon, I won't let them near you. Flashback and Gran Torino dash. After that last I saw him was a few hours later being taken to the hospital. Once I returned with more heroes, he looked down. Everyone was tense at knowing the story on how the three fought for so long with no backup. Edgeshot dash. This is the story that was told to the public but no names was given out. This story would reach far and wide all over Japan and was recognized as the three-night tragedy. The next day when Izuku awoken, he saw Max. He became emotional, but what broke him was when Max told him he wasn't gonna make it. At that moment, every year that he was holding back from seeing Lily's death left his body, he managed to find strength in him to get up and go hug Max. This caused many doctors to come rushing in with the UA staff and the families. Max dash, Izuku, it's alright to cry and scream, but don't give up, okay? He took a slow breath. You still have so much potential and can do so much good. Don't let our deaths make you dark and cold. Remember what all three of us agreed on. Izuku, crying, don't say that you'll be okay, we promised we'd all be a team, don't leave me. Max chuckled a bit and started to slowly close his. Don't go rushing in to join us, okay? You're not allowed to die unless if it's in a blaze of glory or rip old age. With that his heart monitor flatlined. Everyone looked down, seeing the sad scene between the two. Izuku hiding Max, I lost them both. I lost them both. Suddenly a person with green hair approached him. Ms. Joke hugging Izuku, hey it's not your fault. Izuku looks up with tears and sees her, I lost them, I loved both of them like family. Aizawa hugs Izuku, hey it's okay, but I need you to calm down, your heart rate is increasing at an alarming rate. Shortly after Izuku passed out from the pain of his injuries and from dehydration. Aizawa picked him up and put him back in his bed. It had a week since Max's death and Izuku had tried to start training Aegean, even if it were basic exercises. Of course, every time he would get caught trying to he would get scolded, but his reply would always be, if villains don't rest, why should I? Of course, when Ms. Joke came to visit with Aizawa, she would give Aizawa a smack on the head for influencing Izuku, but Aizawa just shrugged. They had informed Izuku that Max and Lily's funeral would be held within the end of the month when Izuku would be discharged. As time passed, the UA staff, the families and civilians that Izuku, Lily and Max protected came to visit. At the end of the month, everyone that knew Max and Lily were at a cemetery. Priest at the stand, may the heavens welcome you, may they sing your name with love and fury. He looked down, so we may hear it from the skies above, we know that you've taken your rightful place at the table of heroes. For two incredible heroes have fallen, worries, friends. He stepped down and paid his respects. Shortly after everyone started following. Aizawa, coming up to them with tears, you two don't have to worry about problem child, I'll take care of him, I promise. Midnight crying, I'll miss you both, you three remind me so much of our friend group when we were young, I'm sorry we couldn't do more for you, please keep watching over us all. Niza looking down, I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you too, but don't worry, I'll make sure to change the world one kid at a time using your example to guide future generations. Izuku tears, hey guys. I know if I tried to apologize you'd be mad at me, so instead I'll promise to do what you asked me and keep smiling for the future. All I ask of you is to be patient. I don't know when I'll join you, but I won't go until I die in a blaze of glory or at rip old age, so wait for me, okay? He looked down and his eyes widened seeing the cat that they encountered along the way. Cat started to pat Lily's coffin with its paws and called out to her. Izuku couldn't help but cry a bit, so he picked up the cat. Hey don't cry, she's in a better place, okay? I'll take care of you from now on. He hugged the cat. As such, Nizu approached and asked Izuku an important question, one that both the families and UA staff have been tensed about asking for so long. Tensed. Izuku, I know this isn't the time for this, but what is your plan now after everything? He said, which everyone tensed at the question. Izuku looked up to the sky. I'm gonna do what they asked me to and keep moving forward. As much as it hurts to not only lose the girl I love and a brother, I have to keep moving forward. After all, I made them a promise. He looked back at them and gave them a smile. Aizawa gave a soft smile. All right, problem child. Edgeshot asked me to ask you if you're still gonna want to do your work study with him? Izuku I think I'd like to start my work study with Aizawa. No offense with Edgeshot, but it's gonna hurts to go into the agency and remember all those memories with my friends. Nizu, we understand, we'll let Edgeshot know. Izuku turns to Gran Torino. Gran Torino. I've made my research and found out you trained All Might when he was a student at UA, so I have a request. Gran Torino raised an eyebrow. What is it, kid? He said with curiosity. Izuku while Aizawa trains me and takes me on patrol with him to learn how to be an underground hero, I'd like for you to train me in combat and overall weightlifting. Nizu interesting idea, but may I ask how you figured out that Gran Torino used to work at UA? Izuku gives a eating grin. Common Nizu, did you really forget who I am? Nizu smiles. No, I didn't. If Gran Torino accepts it, then I will arrange the paperwork. Gran Torino smirks. I may be old, but I will show you why the buffoon fears me. Izuku nodded. One more thing, Nizu. I'd like to get a teaching license. Nizu raised his eyebrows. Can I ask why? Izuku I'm aware that an old teacher plans to retire when I'm in my 3rd year and you'll be short-staffed, so if you don't mind, I'd like to make sure other students don't go through what me and my friends did. He said, full of determination. Nizu could only smile at this and agreed. As time passed, it was now Izuku's 2nd year at UA, and he had started his training with Gran Torino and was gonna start his patrols with Aizawa, but Aizawa had other plans. Aizawa all right, problem child. I know you want to start going on patrols, Aegean, and you can act if there's no other hero on site that can help. Izuku I can act only if it seems necessary and people are in danger. Okay, if there are heroes there, I get the civilians out first, otherwise keep my hands to myself, he smirked. Aizawa sighed but smiled. But before I actually take you on patrols, I need you to do something. He said with a sadistic grin which sent shivers down Izuku's spine. He dropped a thick folder in front of Izuku. I need you to memorize as many hero laws as you possibly can. It is essential that underground heroes know a lot of laws that they can bend without breaking. As such, Izuku got to studying and taking notes on the laws he found interesting or important that he could utilize. This is what he did besides training with Gran Torino for the next 2 weeks. After these 2 weeks, Aizawa decided to give some added motivation and told Izuku the faster he learned as many laws as he could, the sooner they would go on patrol. Themis seriously motivated Izuku, and for the following month, for most of his time when he wasn't training, he would be taking notes of all sort. Izuku did keep up with his work as Coffee Bean, as Nizu had announced the fact that Coffee had a hero ID and email address on the Hero Network to send requests officially. Izuku had also set up an automatic email that would be sent out to any emails received, letting them know that their request would be done soon and that more Regent matters would take priority over regular analysis. Izuku would try to at least do 7 a week, but most of the time he would finish only 4 a week. Now, in regards to his studies and training, Izuku had made huge progress. With Gran Torino, he managed to develop a combat style that was unique to him after getting pummeled to the ground constantly by Gran Torino. As for hero laws, Aizawa felt like he made a huge mistake letting Izuku learn how to bend them socks. He figured that a law that said a person with a license to do heroics could cause physical harm to an individual to bring an end to the active threat they made. This law Izuku bent by combining it with a second law that said, if non-licensed individual were in active danger, then a licensed individual is allowed to carry out measures of force to render the threat neutralized. This meant that if someone with a quirk that lets their arms become swords or anything sharp, then a hero could potentially remove their arms to make them a non-threat. Izuku also found two laws that could be used for warrantless searches, since the laws allowed heroes to use their experience as a base for conducting a search on someone suspicious. Aizawa groaned after testing Izuku in the quirk laws and learning of the loophole. Izuku figured out, how? Why? Izuku for the how, well, I am Nizu's personal student, and as for the why, will it be quite disappointing if Nizu's personal student couldn't figure out such a loophole, isn't it right, Nizu? Suddenly Nizu dropped from the vents with his tea in hand, all while Izuku pulled out a paper that said 10. Nizu - thank you for the score, and indeed it'd be quite disappointing if my best student couldn't figure out such loophole. He said with a grin, and Aizawa just formed harder. Aizawa, just done with his boss and problem child. Anyway, it's time you start doing field work with me moving forward. Moving forward you will join me on any future patrols I do regardless of the day, since it's all at night, which means you better have that sleeping bag on you all of the time like I do problem child. He gives out a sadistic grin. Izuku - you can't be serious, right? He looked at Aizawa, but Aizawa just gave him a look back. Okay fine, I'll order one. Nizu had asked Izuku about how his work as coffee bean was going, with Izuku telling him it was going well and that he had managed to complete 4 to 7 cases a week, not counting analysis, since sometimes he would already have those notes ready. Overall, Nizu was glad that Izuku was having a steady flow of income at such an age. It has been a couple of weeks, and let it be known that Izuku is tempted to commit war crimes against Aizawa. The only reason he hasn't is because of the sleeping bag he bought. Outside of the attempted murder plans, the work studies, training, and teaching license have been going great. It was expected for Izuku to finish his teaching credentials by the end of the year, if not sooner. Unknown to Izuku, Gran Torino was basically preparing Izuku for a special quirk, since Izuku's potential was way better than anything he has seen, with the heart of someone worthy of being a hero. During Izuku's training, Aizawa called someone to come see Izuku, since Izuku was cutting himself off from the outside world and was focusing too much in his hero duties that he is forgetting to live the life of a high schooler. Izuku was training until he heard someone call him. Miro - hey Izuku. He runs up to Izuku wearing the UA uniform. Izuku sees Miro and smiles. Miro, how've you been? Miro - great. I finished my training and it paid off. Izuku, genuinely smiling for the first time in a while. That's great. It means we can both become heroes. Miro - hell with. And Miro. Miro - turns around. Oh hey Tamaki. He turns back to Izuku. Izuku, this is a friend I made. He's Tamaki Amikiji. He's also in the hero course with me. I also made another friend, but she's the exited type, so she's going around all over. Hey, that's mean, Miro. Miro - chuckles. Seems you found us, Nejire. Nejire looks over Miro and sees Izuku. Hero, hey. She student appears in fringe of Izuku. What's your name? What's your quirk? Are you Miro friend that's in their second year? Izuku was a little surprised and remembered Lily when she approached him, but smiled, which made Nejire blush a bit. Tamaki - and Nejire, you should slow down with your questions. Izuku chuckled a bit, and Nejire thought he was gonna make fun of her, but instead, I'm Izuku Midoriya. My quirk is a surprise for when we spar. After all, I should show you the ropes as your older classmate. And yes, I am the carbon copy of All Knight's friend. Miro - hi. Nejire was surprised by his response and giggled. No one was ever able to keep up with my questions. Just smiled. Miro - hey, I know, why don't we all go out and hang out after school? He said, very energetic. Although Izuku wanted to turn down the invitation, he hesitated. Aizawa got out of his sleeping bag, freaking out. Nejire, Tamaki, and Miro, problem child, go. You should enjoy your high school life. Just remember to be ready for patrol. Nejire - great. Where should we go? She said, super excited to have made a new friend. Before any of them could answer, the bell rang. Miro - seems we're gonna have to discuss this later when we get out of school. He turns to Izuku. Where's your class so we can pass by you? Izuku - you can just come to the teacher lounge. I have a desk there where I basically spend most of my time when I do any paperwork. Nejire - you have a desk with the teachers? She said, amazed. Aizawa - yes, the problem child does proud dad noises, since he basically already finished all his studies to graduate and is finishing up heroics and getting a teacher license. The staff basically treats him as a staff member. All three were amazed at Izuku's accomplishments. Once they parted ways, Izuku and Aizawa went to the teacher lounge to sleep. When school ended, their four met up at the teacher lounge and talked for a bit on where they should go, which ended up being a restaurant and park. They all had fun, and Tamaki even started to open up to Izuku, Miro, and Nejire more. Once at the end, Izuku passed by his house to get ready for patrols with Aizawa and met Aizawa at his house. Izuku knocks on Aizawa's door. It's so weird knocking at my own father's door even if they don't know it. Ms. Joke opens the door. Kid. She embraces him in a tight hug. Izuku getting squeezed, this is such a drag, he said while slowly suffocating. Aizawa Emmy, you're killing Jim without bear hug, he said in a deadpan tone. Ms. Joke lets Izuku go and invites him in. Aw, both of you are tough fun. She look at both who had an unimpressed expression. She pouts. Both whatever. They pulled out their sleeping bags. Wake us up when it's time to go. Ms. Joke sweat dropped. You two act like father and son. Izuku smirks. You can blame Dadzawa for that. Aizawa chokes on saliva and sees Izuku's smirk. God damn it, problem child. Izuku problem dad. He turns around in his sleeping bag and goes to sleep. The Ms. Joke, laughing a bit. You might as well embrace it. Time passed, and once it got close to patrol time, Ms. Joke woke both up to have dinner before they go, even if Aizawa protested that fruit jelly should be enough. Once they were out on top of a building. Izuku so what are we doing tonight since you mentioned something about this not being a regular patrol? Aizawa, indeed, I received a case to track down certain individuals taking part in human trafficking, but since what you see on these type of cases can be a little too much, you have the option of going with me. If you don't want to, I can arrange another underground hero to take you out with them tonight. Izuku I'll go with you. If I want to be an underground hero, I need to experience these type of cases sooner rather than later. Aizawa couldn't help but give a soft smile at Izuku's determination and nodded. Soon they started investigating the group of human traffickers. They were patrolling on top of rooftops 2 buildings apart since they wanted to speed out the search as much as possible without losing sight of each other, especially since Izuku was still only a provisional hero and needed a lot of things to learn that would only come with experience. After a few hours of searching, they had made their way closer to the darker parts of the city that was a mix of residential and business area. Izuku knew that this area was where the more poorer income individuals lived, as no one would want to live above a place where people would sell their body freely for money unless they were a pervert. Soon after landing in these area, Izuku spotted a group of suspicious individuals who used allies to cover most of their movements. So Izuku decided to take a picture of them with a special phone he had Power Loader make for him so he could use it at night without a flash. Izuku, noticing the individuals make discreet hand signs and starting to move out, changing of Garuda? He thought. He started to discreetly follow the individuals that were leaving. He also texted his location and photos of the individuals to a group chat that contained Nizu and Aizawa. Nizu was in the group chat since he wanted to stay up to date on any case Izuku took. Izuku texted Aizawa that he was filling an individual who looked like was relieved of his duties, who most likely belonged to the group they were searching for. Aizawa texted back that he needed to take a longer path to not he discovered, since if he jumped over the ally he would most likely be spotted. He also told Izuku to play it safe and get out of there if he felt like it was too much for him. A few minutes of filling the man around allies and corners, Izuku spotted more and more individuals who seemed to be guarding specific areas, so he warned Aizawa to be careful, but soon enough after filling the original man they had arrived at a warehouse. Izuku scouted the building for a couple of seconds, and after finding an entrance he texted Aizawa to location and a photo to the group chat. While making his way through the building using the shadows, he didn't really find anything towers the front of the building, but suddenly he heard an agonizing scream coming from further back of the building. Closing towards the scream, Izuku was horrified and wanted to throw up. Inside the room were corpses of women and children. Izuku had to calm down his breath after seeing that, but once he didn't, he looked around to see where the scream came from and saw a man coming out of a door on the floor. They must be keeping their hostages underground in order, he thought. Izuku noticed that this wasn't a human trafficking group like they originally thought, but an organ factory, after seeing several individuals in lab coats removing organs from the recently killed people. As Izuku made his way as fast as possible to the underground door, hoping he wasn't too late to save the people trapped down there, he quickly took out his phone and alerted Nizu and Aizawa of the situation so they could get other police there as quickly as possible and people in hazmat suits to clean the place up. Aizawa quickly informed that he would be arriving in a few seconds to his location and to stay hidden, Nizu informed them that he had gathered police nearby. All he needed was the word. Izuku stayed hidden for a couple minutes waiting for Aizawa to, but once he had arrived he asked where the underground portion was, and once Izuku pointed out the location and he looked a little sick seeing the corpses laying around the general location of the underground door. They had started to scout the area around to make sure there was no one ready to jump on them. Once they finished scouting the area, Aizawa gave Nizu the word to send the police, and while they took down the group he ordered Izuku to focus on securing the underground area. They launched into action. Aizawa dropped down on 2 individuals while Izuku dropped down on 1. He used his wires to wrap them up and electrify him while he threw the man across the room at other members of his group. Izuku quickly made his way to the underground area. As he explored he found a room with people inside. The people in the room, when they saw him through little cell windows, their eyes widened and started to cheer that they had been found. Izuku used his wires to pick the lock, and once it opened he went in. He saw at least 50 adults and 20 children inside of the basement. Izuku - I am Shin, a provisional hero. Is this the only room with hostages, or is there more rooms scattered around? He asked as he yelled to be heard through the room. One lady stood up and told him that they were the only room that had people inside. I see. Then does anyone have any injuries I should be aware of? He looked around at no one spoke up. Alright then, I want you all to be patient for a bit longer. I'm gonna go back upstairs to check in with my mentor and get police and medical professionals to come down here and help out. I'll make sure to guard the door so there won't be anything to fear. He made his way back to the door while checking everyone's body language in order to make sure no villains tried to hide among the hostages. Once he knew the coast was cleared, he made his way back to Aizawa. Hey Eraser, the hostages are cleared. All we need is to clear out these bastards. He yelled, and Aizawa nodded. Some villains didn't like that the way lost their hostages and tried to get them back, but Izuku was having none of it and quickly dealt with them without leaving the underground door unattended. I love my wires, he thought after throwing a villain across the room onto a wall. Some villains learned from their companions and tried using their quirks, but Izuku just turned off their quirks and quickly dealt with them with his wires. After they had dealt with everyone in the building with the police, Eraser had come up to Izuku to check on him and ask how many were down there. Izuku responded that 80 civilians were down there, 60 being adults and 20 being kids. But in total the group had roughly 100 civilians if they counted the ones that the villains managed to kill. Aizawa could tell that Izuku was starting to have a panic attack, so he told him to follow him out of the building, and once out Izuku had fallen on his knees and started to breath hard. Aizawa - hey kid. He knelt down towards Izuku. Look at me. Take deep and steady breaths. Our job isn't done. The civilians are still in danger until the police has full custody of them, he said in a worried tone, but right now he couldn't have Izuku breaking down. He knew Tai was a right phase Izuku was going through, losing his friends, and then this. He couldn't help but feel like Izuku was gonna slowly become like him if these situations kept on happening. But Aizawa was also kinda relieved this was happening during school so that he could help him through this, since underground heroics dealt a lot with situations like this. Shortly after taking out the villains, Izuku led the police and medics to the underground portion of the base where the civilians were being kept, and they started to evacuate the civilians. While they were doing that, Aizawa told Izuku that it was time for them to go since he wanted to get Izuku out of there. Since he was sure Izuku was close to breaking down, he used the excuse that they could do the report at his house. But as luck would have it, they were interrupted by the detective. The detective wanted to check in with Aizawa since Aizawa normally confronted the detective after a case like this. Aizawa tried to push the conversation to an end and referenced Izuku next to him. At first the detective didn't understand, but once Aizawa made it more clear with a stern look at him then at Izuku, he understood and let them go. After they made their way back home, they noticed Ms. Joke was still out on a patrol, which made Aizawa glad she was out. Just as Aizawa anticipated, Izuku crashed when he entered and ran to the trash. Aizawa helped him take off some of his hero outfit to make it easier on him. Izuku - why? Aizawa - why what? He asked even though he had a guess on the why. Izuku - why are people such horrible humans? He said as he started crying, first Lily and Max and then this. Aizawa hugged him. Kid, I don't know why, it's just how human nature works. But as heroes it's our job to correct the world from the shadows. That's what underground heroes do, and they tend to see this type of stuff much more than limelight heroes. He starts to pat his head. I don't want you to focus on the ones you couldn't save but the ones you did. If it weren't for you, countless more people would have died, he said with a soft smile. Though Izuku had to agree that the world was unfair with the Malik humans made, he could only fight to make the world a better place from the shadows like Lily and Max would have wanted. He now realized the sheer difference in what underground heroes do compared to what limelight heroes do. At this moment Izuku knew he wouldn't change the path he has in front of him for anything. After a while of talking, Izuku finally fell asleep and Aizawa joined him. A while later, once Ms. Joke came, she saw both and couldn't help but smile. Ms. Joke finally acting like father and son, takes out her phone and takes a picture. Thank you for joining us on this journey through What If Deku Was the Son of Aizawa? We hope you found it as captivating as we did. A big thank you to Blaze20055 for creating such an engaging story. Don't forget to visit their profile on Wattpad for more fantastic works. The link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and subscribe to Zenin Fanfics for more intriguing explorations into fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this and we love hearing your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section. See you soon in the next video.